I'm about to offend a lot of steak lovers by covering this beautiful sirloin with ketchup. You wouldn't do that, right? Yet you'd pour ketchup on a burger. And isn't that chopped steak? Try A1 steak sauce on your burger instead of ketchup. Its herbs and spices bring out the natural flavor of steaks. It makes hamburgers taste like steak burgers. So don't cover it, discover it with A1. Then save the ketchup for your fries.
As our 100th birthday approaches, Del Monte is saying thanks, America, with special values, like these classic canisters. So hurry to your store. Times have changed, but our values haven't. Del Monte, we grow values. If you've got a taste for something exciting, which drink has the right blend of flavor and nutrition?
Del Monte, pineapple grapefruit.
Del Monte Pineapple Blends. It's the sensible alternative. We grow refreshment.
A few words about almond joy. Take our words for it. You are for yourself.
Toot-toot, here comes the train.
Here's a toy both you and your kids will like. It's the Shuffletown Railroad. Kids love shuffling the little people in the train around town, and you'll like the fact that the pieces won't fall out. So picking up is child's play. And you can connect all the Shuffletown sets to create Shuffletown World. Kids can shuffle from the farm to the school and back to the train. And the pieces will stay all aboard, right, kids?
Right!
Shuffletown Farm School and the new Shuffletown Railroad from Hasbro Preschool.
Try extra sugar-free gum with NutraSweet.
Extra flavor, extra fun in a sugar-free gum.
Extra sugar-free gum with NutraSweet gives you extra refreshing flavor that lasts an extra, extra, extra long time.
Extra flavor for that extra long trail. Extra flavor for that extra long sail. 3 piece extra, the extra fresh flavor lasts an extra, extra, extra long time.
Get extra sugar-free gum.
Long ago, in a faraway land of ice and snow, the legend was born and the magic became real.
I'm an elf, yes.
For everyone who believes in him and for everyone who wants to, Alexander Salkind presents Dudley Moore, John Lithgow, in the movie with the whole legend, the whole adventure, and the magical wonder of Santa Claus, the movie. Seeing is believing. An Alexander and Ilya Salkind production, rated PG. Starts Wednesday.
These lonely pound puppies need someone to love. Someone who'd love a little puppy love.
For you, Grandma.
Pound puppies are as cuddly as real puppies.
He'll keep you company in the dorm.
They're the perfect way to say I love you for birthdays, holidays, or any day. Pound puppies, so soft and adorably lonely. Sometimes the hardest thing about giving them.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Is giving them up.
Pound puppy, you're my one and only puppy love.
Wednesday, Charlie's little girl falls for an older guy with Charlie and Company. And on George Burns Comedy Week, a serious playwright,
Mr. Honeybunny, your car.
sells out. Then, ready for high adventure, terror, and outer space?
We'll have coffee.
Then you're ready for Robert Hayes, Julie Haggerty, and Peter Graves in Airplane 2. Wednesday.
Power Wheels Raider, Power Wheels High Rider, Power Wheels Classic Convertible, each sold separately, all battery powered with real motors.
And its own power motor makes it go, go, go. Power Wheels, Power Wheels, Power Wheels, power makes it go.
Your parents assemble them easily, then off you go, over the hills, around the trees.
Power Wheels, Power Wheels, Power Wheels, power makes it go.
Power Wheels Classic Convertible, Raider, and High Rider all run on rechargeable batteries, each sold separately.
I admit it. I thought of skimping. Could you look in those big blue eyes and skimp on her? So I buy Kraft singles. Imitation slices use hardly any milk, but Kraft has 5 ounces per slice. 5 ounces. So her little bones get calcium they need to grow. No, she doesn't know what that big Kraft means. Good thing I do.
Singles, more milk makes them. More milk makes them good.
Skimp on her? No way.
I love chocolate cookies and chocolate cake and chocolate ice cream with chocolate sauce and chocolate chips. But I don't love tummy bulges, so I wear Slenderalls, pantyhose, and control top panties all in one.
Hanes Underalls, sponsored an American portrait.
This is CBS. This holiday season, get the lemon lime soft drink with real juice. Get Slice.
We got the juice, a burst of cheer. We got the taste for this time of year. We got the juice, we got the twist. We got what's fighting 7 up and miss.
10% real juice.
We got the juice, it's going fast. We're stocking up to make it last. So nice. We got the juice.
Happy holidays.
Slice.
All the things you love to see, a laughing child on Santa's knee, at Woodland Hills, gifts from the heart. Everything your heart desires, sitting around the Christmas fire, waking up to share gifts that say you care. At Woodland Hills, gifts from the heart.
Vice President Bush meets with hostage negotiator.
Bugs Bunny's Thanksgiving diet will begin after these messages.
Woo! Welcome, everybody. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Welcome back, everybody. Yes, we are finished with day 3 of jury selection. There are 11 out of 16 jurors selected and seated now. So this will definitely roll over into Monday, seeing as tomorrow there won't be any court or jury selection. And of course, on the weekend there won't be. And then Monday, this will resume. Hopefully by Monday afternoon, there will be a full jury and we can commence opening statements Tuesday. Hopefully. Is there 12 now? Sorry. Yeah, it's 12. Sorry about that. It was 11 yesterday. Today it's 12. My bad. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Thank you. So, and as we normally do, I had not planned on going live again tonight, but as we normally do, whenever Turtleboy does an appearance on the Howie Carr show, we like to cover it here. So we're gonna go over that, and then we're gonna try a little something different after that, and then yeah. So and it's good to see all you guys. Wow, really? Jesus, dude. Fascinating. Like, I still can't get over Coffindoffer. I mean, while we have just a minute or two, let me guys show you just something that's just so nice, just so refreshing, so pleasant and refreshing. It's so pleasant and refreshing. Give me 1 second. Let me find it here, folks. I may not be able to find it. I know I reposted it. Why? I don't know. Here we go. Hold on. Oh, maybe I can't find it. Maybe it got taken down. Okay. All right. Check this out real quick. Check this out real quick. This will just take a second. Listen closely. Listen closely.
So initially, many of you who have been following the John O'Keefe case, you know that he was initially charged with manslaughter, and that all changed when a grand jury indicted him for second-degree murder. So simply stated, initially, the state doing their initial investigation and after an initial investigation is done, what happens is, so initially, many of you who have been following the John O'Keefe case, you know that he was initially charged with manslaughter, and that all changed when a grand jury indicted him for second-degree murder. So simply stated, initially, the state doing their initial investigation and after an initial investigation is done, what happens is, so initially, many of you.
Okay. Yeah. because we're the ones who are losing John O'Keefe and all of this circus, right? And you're keeping his memory alive. People like you are keeping Officer John O'Keefe's memory alive by confusing him with someone who's been indicted by the federal grand jury and was charged with second-degree murder. Like, you can't even tell the difference between, I mean, you're a former FBI. You don't have enough sense to, and I understand she misspoke. Don't get me wrong. I get that she misspoke, but that's kind of a heavy mistake to make when you're a retired FBI agent. You expect people to look at you for expertise, and you expect people to follow your example for, you know, treating John O'Keefe with respect and preserving his memory as a fallen police officer, right? Yeah, Coffindoffer, shut up, idiot. So now we're just waiting on
which hides in plain
the end of this commercial break from Howie Carr before Turtleboy jumps on. Yeah, I mean, if I were somebody higher up in the FBI, I would reach out to her and be like, stop claiming us. Just fucking stop claiming us. For fuck's sake, please. Knock it off. Oh my God. Oh my God.
I think we got a super cat. Super cat. I think we got a super cat. Super cat. Super cat. Super cat. I think we got a super cat. I think we got.
Linda and Kevin, 617. Thank you for the super sticker. Appreciate you. And we're just waiting on Howie. Usually we can tell. I look over at Howie and see if he's just looking over his next thing that he's going to be doing. But obviously there's still commercials going on and whatnot. There we go.
42. Who would have thought it would take longer to seat a jury in the Karen Reed murder case in Dedham, Massachusetts, than it would to seat a jury in the Donald Trump non-crime case in New York City? The jury, the 12 jurors have been seated in the Trump trial, but and they got to pick a few more alternates on Monday. But there's still 4 jurors that have to be picked, regular jurors that have to be picked in the Karen Reed case. Joining us now to discuss what's going on with the case is Aidan Kearney, aka Turtleboy. He's the blogger who's been covering this. He's been outside the courtroom, outside the cordon sanitaire, the 200-foot area where you can't protest or you can't say anything. Aidan, how are we going to have opening arguments on Tuesday now? I mean, there's no court tomorrow, so they'll pick supposedly they'll pick the final jurors, or should pick the final jurors on Monday, and we'll have opening arguments on Tuesday. Is that the way it looks?
You know, that's what it's looking like right now, Howie, or possibly Wednesday. We'll see. You know, like the first day they picked 4. Then they picked 7 yesterday, and then they only got 2 today. So you never know. I sat in on some jury deliberations yesterday. I saw 40 jurors go up, and not one of them got picked. Not one of them got picked. It's hard to pick. You know, this is a very educated jury pool, Howie. You know, accidentally, I don't know how this happened. You know, I write about this a lot. I publicize it a lot. A lot of people read it, and next thing you know, the population's highly educated. So a lot of people are just coming into this, and they already know about it. I mean, I didn't mean to do that. It's not a crime to educate the population, Howie. They're trying to make it one, but here we are.
Yeah, I know they talk about a media frenzy. It wasn't really much of a media frenzy until the last few weeks. I mean, it was basically you. I mean, for most of the time, the media in Boston was giving it a good leaving alone, as we always say. Let me ask you about this jury list here. The witness list. And I'm familiar with witness lists. I was on Whitey Bulger's witness list, and he was just trying to keep me out of the courtroom. Me and several reporters from the Globe.
Nice.
And I mean, this is a huge list from the defense.
Wow.
I mean, how many of these people do you really think do they really want to call John O'Keefe the victim's father? Do you think, or are they just trying to keep him out of the courtroom, like Whitey was trying to keep me out of the courtroom?
Well, there was a motion to keep the family in the courtroom, even if they are called as witnesses. But I had heard rumblings, and I have no data to back this up, that John O'Keefe's father was having second thoughts about, Karen Reed's innocence, and was even thinking about sitting on her side. And I have no way to back that up. I can't confirm that. It's just, but he hasn't been to a lot of court dates, and I know that he was somewhat closer with Karen Reed. They got along pretty well. And if you sit here and absorb these facts, the whole time, how can you not reach that conclusion? So he could be called as a character witness that, because the whole case against Karen Reed is going to be, she's a bad person. She's an angry woman and gets in cars, runs people over in the middle of the winter. That's what she does. Dastardly Karen Reed. And so I think to counter that, they're going to have to show that she's not a bad character. And if John's own father has good things to say about her, wouldn't that be something? I don't think they're going to put him on the list if they haven't spoken to him.
So, I mean, so how many do you really think they're going to call most of these 70 witnesses that they've put on the list? I mean, I know some of them are pretty obvious, like Colin Albert be, I mean, he's not going to test.
Oh, yeah.
Again, we go back to the Bulger trial. They call witnesses that, would have, they were going to take the Fifth Amendment. So they just said, don't even bother to come in because they were involved in murders.
Yeah, well, these people claim they're not involved in murder, so they allegedly have nothing to hide. So why wouldn't they come in? And Colin Albert's not the sharpest tool in the shed, so God knows what he'll say on the stand. God knows what Jennifer McCabe will say on the stand. But a lot of these people will say on the stand. But I think the strongest witnesses, and I wrote about this today, Howie, are at the end. They're the expert witnesses. They have four experts that are trained in the field of accident reconstruction and injury causation, 3 of whom have PhDs, all of whom were hired by the FBI, and all of whom are going to testify that John's injuries could not possibly have come from being hit by a car. The Commonwealth has exactly 0 witnesses that actually want to talk about the accident reconstruction and the science of this, about how his injuries could have been caused by this car. Instead, they want to talk about some trip to Aruba a month prior in which Karen Reed was rude to some, salty woman from Pembroke who are real mad about it still.
Nobody gives
they
a
want
shit
to talk
about
what a horrible person she is. That's going to be their entire, case against Karen Reed.
Well, I would assume the defense is going to object to that testimony as immaterial, Your Honor.
Right.
So
Karen Reed could be as mad as she wants. It doesn't matter. It doesn't explain dog bites on the arms, Howie.
Right. Well, I see here one of the witnesses is from the UC Davis Veterinary Lab. I assume that's going to be a witness that's going to be testifying that she suspects Chloe, the missing German Shepherd, is responsible for those marks on the late John O'Keefe's arms.
Is that a defense witness or a Commonwealth witness?
That's a defense witness. Terry Kuhn, K-U-N.
Well, they didn't have, they never got his arm tissue DNA. That disappeared. So they never got that tested. They got some clothes tests, allegedly. Of course, Michael Proctor's the one that submitted the samples, and they said that there was no dog DNA on those. So we'll see what those come back. But the bottom line is, Howie, those accident reconstruction guys are the most important witnesses because they're going to convince the jury that this guy could not have been hit by a car. And if he wasn't hit by a car, Karen Reed didn't kill him. End of story. She's going home. She's not guilty. And honestly, what I think is going to happen with this is I think the feds are just giving them the rope to hang themselves. And they're going to see how far is the district attorney's office going to go with this? Are they going to present evidence in court that the FBI knows that they know is bunk? They're going to see how far are they willing to go with this game of chicken and who wants to get indicted.
But I don't see anybody here I'm looking at the list from the defense witnesses. We should probably tweet this out, actually, Emma. We should tweet out these defense and the prosecution witness list just because they're kind of interesting for people that don't have them. But I don't see Josh Levy, the U.S. attorney, or what's her name, Cohen, who's the the special agent in charge of the Boston FBI office. Why aren't they on the list?
I'm told, and I've heard conflicting things about this, that they have some sort of they can't talk about an ongoing case. And so, but what do you need them for when you have the experts that the FBI hired that will tell you that John wasn't hit by a car? You got them. They're just good. So, you know, if John wasn't hit by a car, Carr Reed didn't kill him. End of story.
So I'm looking at the Commonwealth's list now, these prosecution, and they have the police officers, and the first name on the list is Michael Proctor. I know they don't have to call him in this order, but you know, if they put him on the stand the first day, I mean, there would be fireworks right after the opening arguments. There would be fireworks right out of the box, because he'd have to be cross-examined, and he'd have to be asked about the internal investigation that he's under right now from the state police and from internal affairs.
You'd have to be asked about a lot of things, about why he lied to the state grand jury, about not knowing the witnesses in the case, about why he was offered a gift by Julie Albert on the day that Carr Reed was arrested as a quote-unquote thank you, why he didn't investigate anyone inside that house, why he didn't disclose that he's known Colin Albert for 18 months, why he didn't interview the plow driver until after something called Turtleboy tracked him down and interviewed him for him.
That would be Brian Loughran, right? Loughran? Brian Lucky Loughran? That's him, right?
You're learning it, Howie. You're getting all the names down. You can't trivia on right now.
I know.
It takes a while to learn all these names.
I know. I'm getting it.
And yeah, I mean, he's going to have a lot of explaining to him. And I think any juror sitting there, they're always talking about, oh, you're trying to influence the jury. I don't need to influence the jury. The facts are going to influence the jury. They're going to look at this the exact same way I did, with an open mind going into it, and they're just going to realize, no way, absolutely no way, something's up here, and they're going to reach the same conclusion that we all did.
I see number 66, Norfolk. We'll talk about Norfolk County District Attorney Michael Morrissey. Can you stick around for one more segment, and we'll ask you about Michael Morrissey? Yeah. I have a feeling he's not going to testify. That's a hunch. 844-500-4242. We'll be right back with Turtleboy for one more segment. I'm Howie Carr.
Howie Carr. Okay, so while we wait for that to come back, real quick, let me give a shout out to Patricia for the Venmo. Thank you so much. Patricia said, thank you for keeping us all updated always. You've got to be tired. Yeah. But the thing is, it's a good kind of tired. It's a good kind of tired, you know? I feel good about this. You know, it's kind of like the tired feeling I get after being at the gym. I feel productive. I feel good. You know, like I'm getting shit done. You know what I mean? You guys make me feel important. Like I'm doing something worth a shit. So it means a lot. Thank you so much for the support. It really, really does mean a lot. Sorry, I'm just looking over chat while Howie has his commercial break in the meantime. Yeah, Boston does love Howie. I noticed. Listen, I never heard of Howie before this. I mean, I've heard his name before, but yeah. Here, let me just take care of this real quick. All right. Yeah, Howie is. Oh my goodness, Jody. For keeping boss for all of us. Jody, thank you for the Cash App. Appreciate you. Oh yeah, she's gone. I got rid of her. I don't need that. Cherry gets mad at me when I do that, but oh, here we go.
All right.
Carr, pollen is coming
Oh,
inside.
nope, never
Pollen
mind.
can give you itchy eyes.
I guess he was talking to his producers. No, I mean I've heard of Howie Carr, but I never actually listened to him. And I realize he's a Boston townie and people love him there, so I get it. Oh, thank you, Jody. I appreciate you. Oh, Howie Carr wrote Black Mass. He wrote the book. That's crazy. I just watched that movie. It wasn't bad. People expected it to be a lot better simply because Johnny Depp. People were waiting for the newest Johnny Depp thing because of everything that was going on with Johnny Depp at the time. So people were like, "Oh my god!" Plus, Johnny Depp playing Howie Bulger. I mean, wow. But it just didn't happen. Oh my goodness. Pierre Pont sent a Cash App. Thank you so much, Pierre Pont. Pierre Pont says, "You're a jerk, but you're starting to grow on me." Well, that's the goal. That's pretty awesome. Appreciate it. Thank you. Here we go.
The Karen Reed murder trial that's going to start next week, and the prosecution and the defense witness list. The prosecution's list isn't as long as the defense list. We're also going to post the list.
Isn't that telling?
On our website? If you're not on Twitter, you can just go to Howie in a few minutes. Go to HowieCarrShow.com, HowieCarrShow.com, and
isn't it telling that
list.
the prosecution
with us for one
list,
more segment here is
who has the burden of proof,
Aidan Kearney. He's the
and their
blogger
witness list is significantly shorter than the defense's.
Following the case from his from outside the courthouse because they're keeping the public away, 200 feet away from the courthouse. Aidan, what do you think the chances are that Morrissey is going to be on the witness stand? They may try to call him.
I love that
What do you
movie.
think the chances of him getting on the witness stand are? The defense getting him on, the prosecutor.
I mean, can he just refuse it? I mean, they're probably going to call him. Why wouldn't they call him?
Well, no, they're going to call. They're going to try to call him, but they're going to say, "Well, he's part of the investigation, and he has they'll come up with some defense. You know what they immunity or something, or he's part of the case or something. I would think.
Yeah, I'm sure they got something up their sleeve, Howie. They always do, but they don't want Meatball on the stand. He would not be a good witness for them. Because he's going to have to explain his August 25th statement about why he said that Michael Proctor has no personal relationship with any of the witnesses in this case. And then it came out a month later in the story that I published that Jennifer McCabe is at the Proctor's house on September 25th for a social visit. And for posting about that, his office then charged me with felony witness intimidation. So he's going to have to explain why he just got up there and lied to the people, why he vouched for the credibility of witnesses, which he's not allowed to do. And, if his case is so strong, why does he need to do that?
You know what they're saying? All the commenters on social media are saying, well, why would Morrissey, a hack in the twilight of his career, why would he risk his entire legacy, maybe even going to prison, to protect a bunch of low-life townies from Canton? They're saying he doesn't even know these people. Does he know them or not?
That's $1 million question, Howie. That's $1 million question right there that I've pondered with the whole time. Why does this guy? Because he could easily just throw these scumbags under the bus and just say, "Not my party," which makes me believe, a guy like Morrissey, who in 2013 falls asleep behind the wheel of a car after he said he passed out from eating pizza. and he just, sometimes that happens. Howard.
I'm familiar with that pizza place. They also serve other things other than pizzas.
Yeah, they put roofie flavored pizzas, I guess they have there at that pizza place, and in Milton. And he crashed his car, and he's driving along. And so a guy like that, you wonder what kind of lifestyle he. I got his phone number out. I called him on the show one time. I called him at 11 o'clock, and I got his wife on the phone. And I couldn't believe it. She answered the phone, and I said, "Is he home right now? Can I talk to him?" And she said, "No, he's not here right now." I'm like, "It's Tuesday night at 11 o'clock. Where is he? Is he at party?" It makes me wonder what kind of lifestyle this guy is leading. And when you lead that kind of lifestyle, what kind of things have you seen and done? And what kind of things does somebody like, I don't know, Brian Albert know about you? And what kind of things can they hold over your head? It makes me wonder about stuff like that.
I'm just looking here. Is Brian Higgins on their list? He's not on the prosecution list, is he? But he's certainly on the defense list here. Brian Higgins is the ATF agent by the way, what does this proffer mean from the feds? I mean, I know what it means in organized crime cases. Is it the same thing? Did they offer him? He tells what he knows, and then the proffer is he tells what they know, and then they try to negotiate a deal. But he apparently doesn't have a deal, but he was negotiating a deal with this proffer. Is my understanding correct?
Yeah, that's what David Yannetti threw in there at the last hearing, that he's at a federal proffer, which, to my understanding, what I've researched about the federal proffers mean that you are either a charged defendant, which he's not, or somebody who is a suspect in a criminal matter. And you agree. You say, here's the stuff I can testify to, and I'll testify to this if you'll give me a reduced sentence or you won't prosecute me. That's right.
That's my understanding from writing Hitman with John Monterano. That's always explained to me by Johnny, and he had a proffer.
Yeah. So suppose they go to Brian Higgins, who's an ATF agent, and they say, "Look, we got your cell phone, we got these texts, we know that you lied to the grand jury about this.
Right.
You're looking at X amount of years in prison unless you come clean." And then as soon as he got that subpoena in April of 2023, Higgins just stops talking to the McAlberts, and he doesn't return Brian Albert's phone calls. And Kevin Albert, the Canton police detective, Brian's brother, has to reach out to him and say, "Hey, what's going on, buddy? You still on the team? We're getting a little worried about you over here." And I got Jill Daniels on the phone, who was the sister-in-law of Chris Albert. I think she was hitting the sauce one August night, and I get her on the show, and she says to me, "Oh, what about Higgins? Why aren't you talking about Higgins?" And it was very clear that these people don't trust Brian Higgins, and they because he wasn't returning their
So
phone
you think the
calls.
proffer? Do you think the proffer has been agreed to and signed, and that he is now cooperating with the feds? Or was it just in negotiations and the negotiations fell through? I mean, that's the big question, I think.
It's a good question.
My understanding that if you're on a proffer, that you've already come to the terms.
No,
you made your deal. You're looking at a lot of years.
It's like speaking off the record, though. That's my understanding of a proffer. You say, "Here's what I can tell you, but I want these terms to give you up all these bodies or give you all this evidence." That's the way I understand a proffer, and both sides have to agree to the proffer. And I don't know what Yannetti said in court about what the status of it is.
Oh, he just kind of shoehorned it in there and didn't make a big deal of it. He just mentioned a federal proffer. You need to go back and listen to it. And it was kind of the biggest bombshell of the whole.
It's a big deal. It's a real big deal. So where can people go? Where are you going to be? When are you going to be on social media next?
TVDailyNews.com, or check me out on Twitter at Dr. Turtleboy.
At Dr. Turtleboy. Thank you, Aiden Kearney, Turtleboy. We'll be right back. I'm Howie Carr. First thing when
Okay, so that's it right there. So yeah, interesting stuff. I think obviously we've been streaming when Turtleboy makes appearances on Howie Carr. And Howie Carr has been side-eyeing this situation on his own for quite some time, and now that this trial is about to begin, Howie Carr seems on board, like totally wanting to know where this is going, how this is going to play out. He's no stranger to these high-profile cases. He's no stranger in putting his own name in harm's way, putting his own life on the line to get to the truth, clearly. And I'd say that that Turtleboy has done similar. I mean, if the Alberts are capable of covering up a murder, okay, and it seems to be pretty clear that they are, then and you have somebody like Turtleboy out there, you know, confronting these people and exposing these people. Turtleboy's putting his life on the line for these things, man. It's undeniable. So I think this is what Howie Carr's connection to Turtleboy is, where he relates to him to some degree. I mean, I get up here and I talk about things and I speak the truth, but what I do is nothing close to the things that Turtleboy has done in regards to this case. The reason why most of us know what we know about this case is because of Turtleboy's aggressive investigative tactics, which people seem to have a problem with. But would we be here now had he not done what he's done? And would we be paying as close attention now if they didn't try to shut him up? So I'm going to go ahead and say the answer is no. We would not be, and I think it's absolutely necessary. So I don't want to see, you know, it's obvious that we don't want to see John O'Keefe's name lost in all this, and it's a really, really desperate, pathetic tactic to make it seem like we're all here in support of Karen Reed because we don't have any respect for John O'Keefe or his memory. That's just simply not true. And I can speak for myself. To speak most accurately, I can only speak for myself. And for myself, I'm saying that John O'Keefe, one hand washes the other. You cannot, with the evidence that I've seen, you cannot get justice for John O'Keefe without exonerating Karen Reed. Karen Reed being exonerated from this horrible ordeal is prelude to John O'Keefe getting justice. And you cannot get justice for John O'Keefe without exonerating Karen Reed. So it's necessary. Whether you like it or not, it's necessary. Karen Reed is factually innocent in this case. And I mean, think about it. Howie Carr said so himself. He said, Jesus, the defense witness list is so much longer than the prosecution's witness list. Well, what does that tell you? It tells you that the prosecution has no case. I mean, that's telling in and of itself. It's incredibly telling in and of itself. It's incredibly telling in and of itself. If the defense has if the defense has all of this evidence and all of this testimony to make sure that a jury gets to hear versus the prosecution's list of evidence, I mean, now that could mean, in a lot of cases, it could mean that the prosecution doesn't really need much. The prosecution just says, hey, this is all I need. This is the smoking gun right here. The defense can play this game of misdirection all they want and call the whole town of Canton, call the whole Commonwealth of Massachusetts up on the stand. It's not going to change the fact that we have this overwhelming evidence against Karen Reed. The problem is that they don't have this overwhelming evidence. Where are their experts that they're going to call up? Why is the defense? I mean, what we're seeing is the blueprint for and the foundation for a third-party culprit defense. Clearly, we're absolutely seeing the foundation for this. It's fascinating. They're saying not only did Karen Reed not do this, we're going to tell you who we think did and why. That's incredibly powerful to bring to the table in a murder case, especially one against a police officer. Again, I have never seen anything like this. And I don't know that within my lifetime I ever will. But I am absolutely invested because there is no planet where justice is a thing and Karen Reed gets convicted of this crime. There is no planet where that happens. What's up, Pearl? You know what, man? One second here, folks. This is very strange. This is very, very strange. Why, oh, why? This doesn't make any sense at all. Sorry, give me 1 second here, folks. I'm trying to get to the bottom of an issue here that I'm having through YouTube, which really, really bothers me. What in the hell? Okay, well, I don't know why it's showing up on my StreamYard, but not in my YouTube chat, which is very, very strange. But anyway, Pearl says real respect for Officer John O'Keefe is justice and truth. The conviction of those responsible for his death, justice for John O'Keefe and freedom for Karen Reed are not mutually exclusive terms. They are not. I believe that I believe that they one is necessary for the other. They are mutually necessary. One cannot happen without the other, in my personal opinion. And I feel very strongly about that. And I think that most of us here do as well. As I said, it is it is impossible to get justice for John O'Keefe without exonerating Karen Reed. It is absolutely necessary for Karen Reed to be exonerated to get justice for John O'Keefe. It is absolutely necessary for what's up, Tom? It's good to see you, buddy. Yeah, don't worry about these other channels. Yeah, I mean, I've said it many, many times. There's no way you're. The thing is there's only one place where your eyes are going to go. One place where your eyes are going to go once they're taken off of Karen Reed. And that is inside 34 Fairview the night of January 29th, or the early morning hours of January 29th, 2022. It's inevitable. There's no other place to go. And those names, which are just riddled with inconsistencies in their statements, is where the answers are going to be. Period. It's inevitable. It's happening. It's just, you know, these people who think that there's a side here. It's very funny to me because now they're getting upset, and that's why they're showing up into these chats, and that's why they're getting louder on Twitter, because they don't have anything. They simply they realize that the walls are closing in, and that they were wrong about an innocent woman. They're realizing this, and so now it's just let's make up ugly, stupid, crazy bullshit, and that's not what we do here. And it's stupid, Cherry. It's fear. It's fear of looking dumb. That's all it is. It's not that serious, you know. It's just fear of looking dumb. It happens to me almost every live stream. So far, I have yet to say the correct number of how many jurors we have every time I go live. You know what I mean? Like, I could sit there and be like, fuck, oh my God, and fall apart over it. Or I could just listen to my chat, look at my chat and be like, oh, okay. Oops. Oh, it's 12. I thought it was 11. My bad. I misspoke. Excuse me. Sorry. Very easy to do. Very, very easy to do. I mean, even if you have ego, I have ego, you know, but I'm here to learn. I'm here for the same reason that everybody else is. I'm not here to necessarily educate anybody. I'm not qualified to. I'm just here to learn. Oh my God. Oh my God. Tom.
Get! I think we got a super dad. Super dad. I think we got a super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Dad, 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 dad. I think we got a super dad. I think we got a super dad.
Thank you, Tom CPU. Huge props to Scotty, the man. Totally stepped up and got great footage of Karen. We're blessed to have Scott. I agree. Thank you so much. And I believe he's referring to Mr. Scott McGinnis, this guy right here. Our Hail Mary hope was the Fed raid. There was Karen was Karen pled out, never happened. Here we go, and tension is high. Right. Karen was ready to go to trial. Absolutely ready to go to trial. And now here we are. Now the Karen Reed defense team absolutely called the prosecution's bluff, called the Commonwealth's bluff. And now the Commonwealth is like, fuck, here we are. They don't have a case. They don't have anything that can that can't be destroyed by the defense. This case is infected with doubt. It's infected with doubt. I mean, if there wasn't so much doubt, I would still be sitting here going, I don't know if Karen Reed is innocent. I would still be saying that. But the problem is there's nothing but doubt. Nothing but doubt in the prosecution's case. Nothing but shady behavior. Nothing but, when you look at the big picture of things, shady behavior where the prosecution seems to be wanting to hide things versus prove something. Sarah, thank you so much for the Cash App. Thank you, Will. Love your streams. Thank you so much for the Cash App, Sarah. Appreciate that. Check my community page. I'm the only one who can post things on my community page. So why would I check my community page? And oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
I think we got a super chat. Super fan. I think we got a super chat. Super fan. Super chat. Super fan. I think we got a super chat.
Ginger Freckles. Ginger Freckles. Thank you so much for the super sticker. I appreciate it. Yeah, there's nothing but doubt in this case. In the prosecution's case, there's nothing but doubt. And that's not even including, that's the thing is that's not even including the stuff that Yannetti and Jackson have been bringing up in these hearings that are a result of the federal investigative findings. There's the stuff on the TUI. It doesn't even count as far as my opinion goes, as far as how much doubt is there. That's a whole nother monster. You bring that into it. I'm not even counting that. I'm counting how this investigation was conducted. I'm counting how the evidence was collected, logged, when, how statements were taken, the inconsistencies in the statements. All right, hold on a second. I don't know what you're talking about. Click the link in my community. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, there we go. All right. Pearl is awesome. And so Pearl is now wrenched because I think Pearl is fantastic. Pearl gets an honorary wrench here. So we appreciate you, Pearl, for everything that you do, all your insightful comments. You're awesome. We love you here. So welcome to the family. Officially. Yeah, I don't know why your comment didn't show up on my feed on YouTube, and that's where I have to give wrenches. I can't do it through StreamYard, but so that's why I had a hard time before. I wasn't boomerang, it just couldn't be done because your comment didn't show up on YouTube. So wrong about what? Truth deduction. I'm willing, again, I'm more than willing to be corrected when I'm wrong. If I get something wrong, cool. Educate me. I want to learn more about this case. I do not claim to be an expert on anything. So I don't know what you're trying to accomplish here.
I think we got a super chat. Super fan. I think we got a super chat. Super fan. Super chat. Super fan. I think we got a super chat. I think we got a super chat.
Grow my own in mass. Right on. Good for you. The defense hired expert forensic and accident reconstructionist, reconstructions experts, and the Commonwealth has none. Exactly. Very telling. And thank you so much, Grow My Own in Mass. I mean, exactly. Yeah, Pearl is part of a channel called The Jerks, and they are fantastic. And they mostly focus on the bullshit that goes on in the trauma community, and they call that shit out. And like for a panel full of people, they're extremely organized, and yeah, they're just really great to listen to. I haven't listened to a Jerks stream in a minute, but I like them a lot. Nope, just the Jerks, not the Young Jerks. That's different. Just the Jerks. Different community. Yeah, I can do that. Here we go. Here's the link to the channel that Pearl is usually featured on. Make sure to subscribe to that. If that's your thing, that's something that interests you. Yes, Thomas Fleming, Neil Diamond. Yes, absolutely. Play what song by Microdots? Microdots wrote a song? I didn't know that. That's cool. That's Clubber drinking water very aggressively, if you can hear it. All right, so let's do this. This is not going to be a very long stream. At least that's not the plan. But let me go ahead and do this. And if you guys have not hit the like yet, please do so. Make sure to hit the like. And if you're not subscribed, make sure to subscribe. It's free. And make sure to hit the notification bell to make sure you get notifications for when I go live. Because as you guys can see, I go live whenever the fuck I feel like it. So yeah. Now, let me do this here. Let me do this here. Here we go. All right. So see this phone number right here? Call it. And we can chat. No, Benjamin John, it's not a sex hotline. It can be though. No, it's just call the number and let me know what you guys think, whatever your thoughts are. You're on. Who am I speaking with? Hello.
Hey, Will.
Hey.
I think I gotta turn my live off. Hold on.
Okay.
I just took a chance calling you. This is LJ.
What's up, LJ?
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I went this morning for a little bit. She looked very nice going in, and it's very great of all the supporters to go. Everyone looked great and very peaceful. I just wanted to call in and see what you thought about these people talking about that she knows something.
That who knows something?
Karen. Like that she's very confident and may know something. As far
It's
as, like,
I mean, first of all, if I'm paying the kind of money that I'm paying for those high profile defense lawyers, I'm going to feel pretty confident. So I'm not going to say that the reason why she's so confident is because she knows something, but I would imagine that if the defense has something, some sort of bombshell that's clearly going to clear her name, they're going to reassure her and let her know what they have. So,
right.
you know, if the defense knows what they're going to be doing, Karen knows about it too. So,
Yeah. So do you still feel that the feds will step in eventually?
I think it's a possibility, but my opinion is I feel like they would have done it already, but I don't know how these federal investigations work, and I just definitely don't know how they work when investigating a county district attorney and his office.
Right.
So I don't know what the protocol is for that in a situation like this. Again, I don't think anybody's ever seen anything like this before. So, who knows?
Yeah, it's pretty abnormal. And is the investigation still going on?
Yes, the investigation's still open. So, which is like Turtleboy said, which is probably why none of the federal federal agents are on the witness list.
Right. Okay, very interesting. I wasn't sure if it was still happening or not.
Yeah, no, it's still very open. If it wasn't open, if it was closed, we would have access to the I would assume so anyway. We would have access to the TUI report. We would have access to that 3,100 page document, which we do not have. And that is in my opinion, because it's part of an ongoing investigation. So,
right. Well, another thing is I wanted to thank you for following it. And it's always very convenient to go and see you.
Right on.
And I really appreciate it and all the work you put into it. Hopefully you can make it up here to the trial.
I'd like to, like I said, that's the goal. I just got to work some things out here and make sure that it's all good. But it's not that easy for me to travel. But if I can, I will, most definitely.
Yeah. And thank you also to all the people that went this week, and they all looked great. Very nice of them.
Yeah, no, you guys are
really
fantastic.
today.
And thank you. Yeah. Thank you for stepping up and putting yourself at risk by standing out there and standing up for what you feel strongly about. That to me, you guys are the real heroes in this whole thing. The biggest heroes out of everybody is all of you that represent all of us and our freedoms, standing up for our freedoms.
Absolutely.
So that means a lot. Don't let anybody ever minimize that and say you're a loser because you should be at work and blah 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 blah. No, it's people like me absolutely appreciate you doing what you're doing, and I'm incredibly grateful to you for it. So
thank you, and thank you to everyone else.
Right on.
Thank you for someone told me today finally how to get a membership. I really appreciate that, and I became a member. So thank you very much.
Thank you for becoming a member.
Very helpful in the chat too.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
So thank you very much, and I enjoyed talking with you. Have a great night. Thank you.
You too. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Next caller. That was a really nice call, man. Yeah, no, there is nothing normal about this case. Absolutely not. There's nothing normal about this. Nakika, welcome. Appreciate you. You're on. Who am I speaking with?
Well, you're speaking with Frank.
How are we doing, Frank?
I'm doing good, man.
Right on.
Hold on, let me turn on YouTube. So, my man, I've been watching you, and to be honest, I think you're an interesting guy. And I've been trying to send you my my WordPress, but it wouldn't give me your email, which is fine. See, I am trying to figure this all out, right? Why people think that an impaired woman that was filled with alcohol, and we already seen her hit a car once, right? Why it's not feasible that she could hit her boyfriend.
Nobody's saying that it's not feasible that she could have hit him because she was drunk. Sure, of course. Nobody's saying that. The problem is that the case that the prosecution is presenting doesn't add up. John's injuries are not consistent with her hitting John O'Keefe with her vehicle. There's absolutely
why is it not consistent?
Because there's no injuries to his body. There's no injuries below the chin. If the taillight hit him, then I mean, if the taillight cracked and that's the only damage to her vehicle, and the taillight hit John O'Keefe, striking him, and I mean, why is there not even any bruising? Are you telling me that somehow John O'Keefe was on his hands and knees and then she backed into his head with the taillight? Explain that to me.
Well, it depends, because he certainly has abrasions. I mean, I agree with that. And abrasions mean superficial skin peeling, essentially. And that means friction by high force. I used to play soccer all the time. I played on artificial grass, and when I made like a sliding or whatever, or fell down, dude, my skin would like peel off easy peasy. But that was because of friction. If a car would hit you by an angle, and I did a car mechanic degree for 2 years as well.
Okay.
So we learned all about car collisions and the calculations of that.
Okay. So explain to me how she was, he supposedly, he ended up 12 feet into the yard, right?
Mm-hmm.
He ended up 12 feet into the yard. So how, if she ran him over and he got those wounds on his arm from the road, which we know there's no way that those wounds are, come on, let's just be real. There's no way that you got AstroTurf wounds that look like the ones he got on his arm. There's just no way. So how, if the theory is that he went flying back 12 feet, landed in the yard, how did he end up with no road rash at all? You know, how did he end up
trying to figure out?
Right. That's what I'm saying is if how did he end up with those wounds on his arm if he ended up flying back 12 feet and landed in the grass on the snow? So where, unless he landed on a rock. So let's entertain that possibility. Let's say there was a rock or something blunt on the grass, right? That he might have landed on. That would make sense, right? Okay.
Snow and heavy, right?
If that's the case, where is this rock or whatever blunt object he landed on? Where is this? You know, why have they not collected that as evidence and tested it and found his blood on it?
Sure. Well, see, the thing is that I'm trying to do this from a kind of neutral standpoint and trying to use all my knowledge that I have and trying to make sense of all this, right?
Sure.
The thing is that snow is by no means, if it gets hardened, it is freaking nasty.
But it wasn't hardened yet. That's the thing is it just started snowing. So
it just started snowing, but there was already snow on the ground, right?
Yeah, but I mean, it would have been hardened if it was rainy or wet outside. I mean, there's no way that there's just nothing you're going to tell me that's going to convince me that the snow on the ground caused any of his injuries. They don't add up. They don't make sense. And it doesn't. And it does. And Turtleboy's in the chat right now, actually, and he's saying that it doesn't cause parallel lacerations.
It really does.
How could it cause parallel lacerations? Snow.
Because it's called friction. If he's standing upright and if he's being hit by a vehicle, that's caused friction, just like it normally does when you, for example, just hit a car.
Mm-hmm.
It is exact same thing, and that is what caused it. The vehicle hit him. That is what caused friction on his skin, because skin is very elastic.
Okay, let's entertain that for a second. Okay. John was found laying on his back with his cell phone under him. Okay. How would he have gotten those abrasions on his arm and landed on his back? Explain that to me. On both sides of his arm, too, by the way. Like, there are marks around his elbow that surround his elbow. They're trying to say, oh, the prosecution tried to say, well, he only got those marks on the one part of his arm. But there's absolutely no road rash. There's just individual lacerations down his arm. And how could he have possibly gotten those lacerations if he landed on his back? I mean,
it's called secondary impact.
Explain, please.
So when a vehicle hits somebody,
okay,
there's usually called something secondary impact. So when an individual falls, that is not the first impact, right? The first impact would be the collision with said vehicle.
Okay.
So if a person would fall due to the vastness or the miles per hour the vehicle would drive, and this is just me talking about a pedestrian, right?
Sure. No, I got you. I got you.
If somebody would back in, you can't compete to a car. It's like, no way. So the force of gravity would tell you that that amount of force would just slam you backwards.
Okay.
That is how I think his wound on the back of his head would happen.
You're still not explaining to me the secondary impact on his arm. How did he get how did he get those?
I was just talking in general.
Right. How could he have possibly gotten those marks? You asked me, I'm still on the question that you asked me earlier, that you were asking me, why is it so hard to believe that that John O'Keefe could have gotten those injuries through Karen Reed hitting him with her car? And I'm explaining to you, it just doesn't add up. You're telling me that she hit him at 26 miles per hour, or was it 24? I forget, but well over 20 miles per hour at 62 feet, right? 62 feet. She hauled ass in reverse, 62 feet, hit him at 24 or 27 miles per hour, excuse me, or 24 miles per hour. Somebody's okay. Yeah. Benjamin John's saying 24. It can't be recreated, Microdots is saying. And I'm inclined to agree with Microdots. At 24 miles per hour, and yet where he would sustain injuries from being hit by a vehicle, there's nothing. It's pristine. On top of the fact that his injuries, no samples were taken of his injuries to be tested. And if he landed on, we're also talking about, we're talking about a massive amount of blood loss that the medical examiner claims that he lost. And yet, where is all of this blood? You're going to tell me 6 droplets of blood being found indicates that he lost all of that blood on the lawn, and yet they could only recover 6 droplets of blood? That makes no sense. Come on.
Let me see if I remember right. It was 16 degrees. Was the wind being 30 miles an hour equals, I don't know, whatever. Body temperature, and I know a lot about true crime, by the way. Body temperature degree, your blood vessels constrict when it's cold, especially with a head injury. That's why there is not that much blood. If it's constricted.
Where did the blood go?
Cold, and it was very cold.
Where did the blood go, man? Where did the blood go?
The thing is that he had different type of wounds, right? If it's the wound that he got was not necessarily that deep. He died because of hypothermia and blunt force trauma.
Actually, he didn't, because they don't know how he died. The death certificate states that it's undetermined how he died. They just said that those were the injuries that he suffered from, but they don't say that that's the cause of his death.
So
the cause of death is undetermined.
What the medical examiner is saying is not true?
No, what the medical examiner is saying is true. What the medical examiner is saying is that the cause of death is undetermined. They don't know.
Oh, then I probably read the wrong articles. You might be right.
No, you've just been listening to the prosecution side of things, but you haven't read the actual reports, and you haven't listened to the defense, because the defense is saying that the prosecution is trying to omit and redact the word undetermined from the death certificate. Why would they do that? Why would the prosecution want to do that?
Why? Well, see, the thing is that I'm giving the prosecution obviously the benefit of the doubt. I'm willing to listen to you guys. I mean, I have no issue with that.
Don't look at the chat right now. We're having a conversation. It's okay.
I'm not being hostile to you guys. So.
No, don't pay attention to them right now. It's just me and you talking.
Well, the thing is that if you have, for example, I saw this gentleman today on News Nation saying that, well, the back of the Lexus car was made of polycarbonate, which is a strong plastic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you think about it and you just a simple Google search about, well, how the weather was -8 degrees, and well, at least in not in Fahrenheit, but if you look at that, plus you look at the concept, I'm a huge nerd, by the way. If you look at the concept that plastic can be extremely brittle when it already had a first impact, plus the cold, plus the warmth of the light, that it can be easily brittle. It cannot just be smashed. That is not how polycarbonate works.
Right, but I mean, I guess John O'Keefe, the lower part of his body is just made of I mean, he must be Kryptonian, because I mean not his face, not his head, but the lower part of his body just must be Kryptonian, because he didn't suffer any injuries below the head. So explain that one to me.
Hold on a second.
Mm.
So what kind of let me ask you first before answering that question. What kind of angle do you think that he was hit with?
What type of angle do I think he was hit with? I don't know.
Yeah.
I wasn't in that basement in 34 Fairview that night. I have no idea.
No, but what are they alleging? Like, what was his body position?
Oh, they that's the thing, is the prosecution has yet to come up with a sound theory. That's the issue. That's the problem. They're trying to prove that Karen Reed hit him with the car, yet everything that they come up with that says it's proof, they say, oh, well, we don't have that proof anymore. There's no data from the car that would indicate that she backed into something fast. There's no data indicating that she hit anything. There's no data. There's no video reverse camera footage. All of this stuff just disappeared. I mean, and I highlighted this comment because it's just very funny. This is an idiot that loves to troll me on Twitter, and this is the logic that comes from these people. The blunt force trauma is the cause of the blunt force trauma. Plevin logic right there for you folks. And I don't think you're a troll. I think that you're somebody who wants to have faith in the justice system, and wants to have faith that the prosecution has their suspect, and that there is justice in the works for a fallen police officer. You want to believe that. I believe that you want to believe that. Sure. I would love to believe that. I went into this case believing that. or wanting to believe it anyway. And then the more I looked into it, the more I looked at the prosecution's case, not the defense, the prosecution's, nothing made sense. Nothing added up. That's how I got to where I'm going with this, or where I am with this. I was looking at the prosecution's case, and then I was like, this doesn't add up. This doesn't add up. And then I started listening to the defense. Then I started listening to Turtleboy. And then I started going, okay, none of this adds up. And then the stuff that started to add up started to make sense, started to be the stuff that Turtleboy was saying, that the defense was saying. I mean, it's as little as I want to accept it, it is what it is.
Really, that is the thing. But that's what I'm saying. Just look at my WordPress, and I will prove you completely wrong. And trust me, there are some interesting things about Turtleboy in as well.
Oh,
Anyways,
so this is about Turtleboy for you then.
Was it good to see you? And see you till next time.
All right. Have a good one. There you have it, folks. Give me 1 second. I know the phone's going to ring. Give me 1 second. I've got to step away for just a second. Okay, now the most interesting thing about that phone call is that I never even had to bring up the fact that there was an independent federal investigator who drew the conclusion that there's no way that John O'Keefe was hit by Karen Reed's car. There's just no way. I didn't even have to bring that up because nothing adds up. You're on. Who am I speaking with?
Speaking with Rolly.
What's up, Rolly?
How you doing, Will?
I'm doing fantastic. Let me guess. You're a local in Massachusetts.
Yes, I am.
How we doing?
Good. Pretty good tonight.
Right on.
Just want you to know right off the bat, I'm old enough to have watched Bernie play. So
You're old enough to have what?
Watched Bernie play.
Oh, Bernie Federko. Okay, yeah. Right on. Right on.
Okay. Now I've watching the case, close to Turtleboy, paying attention, watching you, watching everybody else. Something I think a lot of people are missing here, okay, is if John was out there from 11:30, 12 o'clock until 6 o'clock in the morning in that weather, he would have been frozen solid.
Right.
Nobody is saying anything about John not being frozen solid. They say that when Karen got to him and she was doing CPR, she had blood on her. Don't understand how she could have blood on her if John was out there for 6 hours straight in that kind of weather. It doesn't happen. He would have been like a popsicle.
That's a strong argument. So what you're saying is that Karen Reed was covered in John's blood. But
that's what they said.
Right.
That's what they said. That she had blood on her after giving him CPR.
Okay. But you don't think that her body heat, Clever,
No,
stop, buddy.
not going to happen. How long was she over him to get that to happen?
I don't know.
Okay, another thing, the truck itself, okay, the Lexus itself, the only damage is the tail light. There's got to be more damage. If you hit anything with a car, there's more damage to a vehicle than there is just a broken tail light.
Right.
The man before, the guy you just talked to before, talked about the polycarbonate.
Okay.
That doesn't shatter.
Okay.
Polycarbonate, even at that temperature, that stuff just cracks, and that's it.
Okay.
The way it's made, it's built that way. Still there, Will?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay, that's
Okay, so
I mean, he's talking. He was talking about this, that, and he's talking about the tail light. But where's the damage to the vehicle besides just the tail light?
I agree with you, but I'm trying to understand what your opinion on all this is, because you're saying that there's no way that Karen would have all that blood on her. Because the thing is Karen also said, she said herself on the court steps, she said, I was the one trying to save John, covered in his blood, and nobody else tried to help. She said that. So,
Exactly.
so, I don't know. I haven't.
What I mean, though, is
I'm listening. Go ahead.
he would have been frozen.
Right.
There would have been no like unfrozen blood.
I don't know enough about blood to make that argument.
She would have had to been laying on him. You know what I mean? To
Right.
warm up the blood to get like blood on him. They stuck him out there late in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning when everybody's sleeping.
Right.
Okay, that's the witching hour. Okay,
Sure.
That was the time. They snuck him out there at that time, and then everything went from there. That's the way I'm looking at it. Somehow, some way, with his phone call to to Higgins, there was two big guys that carried John O'Keefe, because John was a big man.
Sure.
So they had to be two of them.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I don't think that one of those big guys threw him over their shoulder and then carried him outside. I think at least two of them carried him out.
Not even Brian
Agreed.
Albert being as big as he is.
And Higgins is a big guy too. Higgins is a big, strong guy too.
Well, both of those guys are big, strong guys.
Right.
John was a big man.
Right. So yeah, I mean, I guess where you lost me was the blood situation. I don't know enough about blood to make an argument of whether or not, how the blood got on Karen Reed, if she got blood on her, how she got blood on her, how much blood was there. I don't know. That's something that hasn't been brought up a lot. So I don't know.
That's why I'm saying, why are we missing the frozen? He would have been frozen. The temperature was 16 degrees and the wind chill with the wind chill.
Agreed.
I mean,
right.
He wasn't covered in snow. Okay. I remember the night. The blizzard happened really the next day. There wasn't a lot of snow at that time.
Okay.
So he wasn't like insulated in the snow after 6 hours of laying in the snow with maybe 6 inches of snow on him. Snow didn't happen until the next day. And where did the blood go?
Somebody in the chat was saying, no, well, yeah, no, I agree with you. That's what I was talking about with that last caller. I was like, I mean, there was all this blood that he lost, but only 6 drops were found and recovered. So that makes no sense. And of course, conveniently, the floor of the basement is refinished. Amazing. But on top of that, like somebody in the chat mentioned that an explanation for Karen Reed having blood on her from John, while she was giving him CPR, she could have his blood from his lungs could have gotten on on her. Maybe. I don't know. I have not put a whole lot of thought into the blood, so I can't really responsibly speculate on that, especially since I don't know enough about blood or blood spatter, or and it wouldn't even have anything to do with blood spatter. So I don't know. I honestly don't know. So I don't feel comfortable forming an opinion right here and now on blood when I don't know anything about blood. You know?
But the thing is, Will, though, is the temperature for all that time. That's a lot.
I agree with you.
Time,
I agree with you on
for
that.
him to be out there, and then for her to have any kind of like fresh blood, even the blood in his lungs for that long would have been frozen.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know how much I invest into into the blood issue. Let me read to you something. I've read this a few times the last few days. Someone sent me a DM and they said, I am a paramedic near Canton, and I'd love to offer to clarity on 911 policy. Patients who are in cardiac arrest, aka death, and also experiencing hypothermia, extreme cold, cannot be pronounced dead until their core body temperature returns to normal levels. I won't bore you with the biological reasoning. This is likely why John O'Keefe was not pronounced dead until almost 8 a.m. The fact that John O'Keefe was treated and transported does not mean that he was alive at 6:05. He suffered a major traumatic brain injury and minimum 3 hours of freezing temperatures, as you're stating. Given my experience in the field, the chance John was still alive when EMS arrived is exactly 0.000. So this person agrees with you about being frozen out in the snow for a long time. And the reason why he wasn't pronounced dead was because it's policy, apparently, that you cannot pronounce someone dead until their body returns to normal core temperature. So that's interesting.
That's the first I've heard, like when you just said that.
Yeah. No, I mean,
someone said that.
I mean, a lot of people send me DMs and emails, and I don't get through them all. But that one really got my attention because it made a lot of sense. It made a lot of sense. So
absolutely, that's what I was wondering. Core body temperature. What was his core body temperature when they got him to the hospital?
Yeah, it could not have been normal. No way.
No, of course not.
No way.
Right.
Because especially if he's fighting for his life, again, I'm not a doctor, so I don't really know.
Yeah.
But if he's fighting for his life, I would assume that his blood pressure is really low, which I would also assume that due to the fact that his blood pressure is so low, his body is going to get colder that much faster, alive or dead. His body is going to get going to get cold that much faster. But I don't even think that would make much of a difference considering how long he was out there and how cold it was. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but he had no shirt, no hat, no shoe.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, laying on the ground. I mean, you get your body, your temperature just gets sucked out. Within an hour, you're dead.
Right. I mean, yeah.
All right. Will, I hate to hang you up. Listen, great show. Love your show. You guys done a great job. All I can say is I don't think she's guilty.
Yeah,
it didn't happen that way. I think it's I've lived in Massachusetts all my life. I call it Massachusetts because this kind of stuff has been happening forever. Forever. You go back to Whitey, you go back to before the days, the FBI, the state police. It's been a lot of dirt going on around here for a long, long time. You see it in Worcester County. You see it in all the different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Turtleboy is one of the guys who's all of a sudden come out of nowhere and just pulled up a lot of dirt on a lot of people. And that's why a lot of people hate Turtleboy.
Yeah.
So that's where you're getting a lot of the hate. These people
Yeah.
that think Karen are guilty, most of them just hate Turtleboy so much.
Agreed.
They just want to believe that she's guilty.
Agreed. And it's just interesting to me because like it's like it's naive to think that Turtleboy is not fucking with somebody's wallet. You know what I mean? By exposing the way the people the way that he's been exposing them. Somebody's money's getting fucked with, and it's pissing people off. So
absolutely,
somebody's money's getting fucked with.
Because you know that's what it is. It's always about money.
It's the answer to 99 out of 100 questions, Rolly, every time.
All right, Will. Great talking to you. I appreciate you taking my call. Thank
You too, buddy. Thanks.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. You're on. Who am I speaking with?
Hi, this is Lisa.
Hey, Lisa.
Hi. I actually was calling because I am just about, is that why people literally don't believe that there's a conspiracy because they don't like Turtleboy or they don't like Karen or they just refuse to believe police? I can't think of any other reason why anybody would think she did it by now. I can't think of any reason.
One of the reasons why I started opening this phone line, I am waiting. I am on the quest for the Holy Grail. You know what the Holy Grail is for me?
What?
Finding somebody with a logical argument that makes Karen Reed out to be guilty, and they don't have any problem with Turtleboy. They've never heard of Turtleboy, or even they might even like Turtleboy, but yet still think Karen Reed is guilty. Find me that Holy Grail, please. Anyone.
Absolutely. You take one or two things that have come out from the lives of the policemen to the, all the any one little thing, or maybe add two or three, and there's no way you could think she did it.
Right.
I remember I watched the first time I ever saw Turtleboy was on your channel when he was talking to Vinny. I never watched him before. I always thought he was guilty, but there was a question. Vinny was saying, in accidents, people tend to come out of their shoes. And he said, okay, yeah, right,
Sure.
Vinny, well, where's the shoe?
Right.
And that was an absolutely great question. Where was the damn shoe? It couldn't have went, and why wouldn't they look for it in the house if it wasn't there? Why wouldn't they pursued the missing shoe? That would be a good clue.
I mean, you've got all these people. You've got all these first responders and EMT people and CERT team people walking all around the yard, and you could find 6 little drops of blood, enough to have the foresight to ask a neighbor for fucking Solo cups to put them in, but you can't find a shoe that fell off the victim in the impact from the impact of being hit by an SUV. Are you kidding?
It would have had to trip one of them. It would have been right there. If it came out, it would have had to been somewhere between him and the car, I would think. I just don't understand. That's what I wanted you to explain. Why do these people not want to get, anytime I've heard anybody present any one of these arguments, anything that comes out new is always in favor of Karen. It's never a new thing in favor of the prosecution. So when they do come out with it, why won't they listen, at least acknowledge? Like they'll say, okay, maybe his body doesn't show the car hit him, but she still did it. And it's just they refuse to acknowledge any one thing.
Well, you have to prove to me how she did it. Like the guy who called, I don't think the guy was trying to be combative. Like he genuinely called because he believed that Karen Reed was guilty, but he was put in a position by calling me to ask himself questions, logical questions that he avoided.
Until the very end, though, you said, oh, so this is about Turtleboy.
There it was. Right.
Why would it be about that guy? He has been doing nothing but good. And it could be any one of us. Literally, it probably has been some of us that have been, put to jail is something that somebody else of, higher power did. It could be any one of us.
Right.
I don't understand why this isn't more important to a lot of people. I mean, some of them it is.
Because people like to live in their comfortable.
There's so much evidence.
People like to live in their comfortable little bubble where the world is perfect, where the people that they trust to to protect them are up and up superhero type people who never do anything wrong. And that's a very comfortable place for your mind to be at, and I get it. The problem is that that's just simply not reality. Sometimes it is, and it's very nice when it is reality, but in this case it's clearly not reality, and it's not fair to those who have a high standard or have a normal standard. It's not a difficult thing to ask for, where you want the people who you elect and appoint to protect you to be honest. And for people like you and other people in that community to have this high standard, and it's not even that high of a standard, it's a very reasonable standard to have. And why these people are for your sake, for these people's sake who live in this safe little bubble, they want them to feel comfortable in their safe little bubble. They're doing this and asking these questions for their sake, ironically. And yet they're like, you're rocking the boat, and you're accusing good people of this and this, and you're forgetting what this is about, which is about John O'Keefe. No, nobody's forgetting that this is about John O'Keefe. Nobody is. This is absolutely about John O'Keefe. This is about every other police officer on the job. This is about anybody, not just a police officer, but any civilian who gets killed under suspicious circumstances. Those locals want to make sure that they can count on these investigators to get to the truth and get justice for their loved ones or themselves.
And you know, the fact that he was a police officer, a very well decorated police officer, the fact that they handled the whole case, you know, with the collection of evidence, no pictures, no nothing, that right there says a lot.
Right.
You know, he was a police officer, so we're worried about the police officer side of the victim, not of the culprit, you know, so to speak. I just wonder, do you think that when this all comes out, because it's here now, and the defense gives their opening statement, I'm hoping from then on, we're going to see a lot of people go, oh, well, now I can't deny it, because they hear it in a chronological order, laid out what they're going to show, or maybe they're going to wait till they show it. But do you think they're going to start saying different now after people hear it? Or do you think the people that are out here are just going to stick to their guns and say, no matter what, she, you know, like some people are already saying, if she doesn't get convicted, that it's only because they didn't have enough evidence.
Well, it's something
and
called,
not because she's actually innocent.
it's something called confirmation bias. I think some people will change their minds. I feel like a lot of people who were on the fence no longer are, because of Yannetti's most recent address to the court.
Yeah.
I think that's an issue, and has gotten a lot of people off the fence and on the side of Karen Reed's innocence. But the thing is those other people that you're talking about, you know, there's a confirmation bias. As long as Turtleboy's out there and they hate Turtleboy as much as they do, they're going to find a way. Like people like Grant are going to find a way to justify all of the things that he's written, all of the time that he spent writing, all of the misinformation that he spun. I mean, he's going to find a way to justify it in his mind and continue doing so, because people's egos, they're not going to be able to handle, you know, all of a sudden out of nowhere, you know, they're going to change their mind.
He was right.
You know, that people's egos generally don't, they're too weak to handle that. You know.
Now he's going through a case of his own right now. I know he got arrested. They were saying for harassing people. Do you think that he was arrested because he was getting close, or do you think that they were putting him away? That some of the, do you think they had a hand in saying, like, we want this guy? Because if that's, I mean, I believe it now. If that's the case, all the stuff that's come out, maybe people should look into. You know, do you think that's what happened, or was it just they were all tired of him investigating? I think it might be more to it. Right?
Well, yeah, my theory, the longer this case developed, the more this case developed, the more my mind kind of changed a little bit more and more as far as the purpose behind arresting and charging Turtleboy. At first, I thought it was as simple as just trying to shut him up, and I was just like, why would they think that? That's crazy. This is clearly going to have a Streisand effect. Why would they think that that arresting Turtleboy is going to shut him up? That makes no sense. They have to know that that's going to do the opposite. It's going to have the absolute opposite effect. So I didn't understand that. And then when I saw their opposition motion for dismissal and disqualification, and it's just a bunch of stuff about Turtleboy in there, I realized that it was mostly just so they could present to a jury. Because the thing is, you have to understand that a lot of the evidence that the defense is going to be using, a lot of the exculpatory evidence that the defense is going to be using, that's going to create doubt in jurors' minds, was they are products of Turtleboy's investigations, right? They are the result of Turtleboy's investigations. So basically, if you see where I'm getting at, so if the prosecution, if the prosecution gets to tell the jury, like, well, you know, or gets to ask somebody a question right in front of the jury and say, well, where did this information come from? Turtleboy? Somebody named Turtleboy? A blogger who, and in their closing arguments, they get to discredit him, and they get to say, the defense is using evidence coming from a guy who writes blogs, and not only that, people, I mean, of course, we all have our freedom of speech, but the problem with this Turtleboy guy is he's been in jail for 60 days. And because he harassed victims or he harassed witnesses and intimidated witnesses. So when a jury hears that, a jury who's been selected for the reasons of not knowing any of this stuff, because they're not going to know. Supposedly they shouldn't be in the jury if they know as much as we know. So when a jury hears this, it's going to discredit Turtleboy and in turn discredit the evidence that Turtleboy has uncovered. So that's what they're looking to do. By discrediting Turtleboy, it discredits the evidence that the defense is using to exonerate Karen Reed. Does that make sense?
Like the tow guy, right? He was somebody that he found, not the tow guy, but the plow guy, right? Was that something
that was Turtleboy. Turtleboy was the one who tracked down the tow truck driver and uncovered that.
Still,
or not the tow truck driver, the snowplow driver, excuse me.
Yeah. So do you think they're going to try to call him after, or is it not? He's not going to be called.
Oh, he's on the witness list. He's on the witness list. So
no, I mean the Turtleboy.
Oh, Turtleboy's not on the witness list. No.
Do you think they would call him afterwards, or because they free him up, or do you think they're just going to bad talk him?
I don't think that they can add him at the last minute. They have to get the judge's approval to add him at the last minute as a witness. But I hope to God they put Turtleboy on the stand at some point. That would be fucking great. That's a day in court where I'm going to be like, okay. This is going to be good. I'm going to have my popcorn ready. So,
who found the shoe in the end? Was it found after when they found the tail light? Did they ever find it?
Yeah. As far as I understand it, yeah, they did find the shoe later on, but I don't remember who it was that found it.
Okay. All right. Well, I just don't understand this absolute refusal. Like, you can present any of this, anything, and it should make somebody wonder, why would they destroy their phones?
Right.
What did they got to do with it? Any one thing when you pull into the basement, that's a big deal in any other murder case. Somebody pulls up their basement. Oh, we know who did it.
Why would they destroy their phones is a great question. But an even better question is, why would the district attorney of Norfolk County instruct these men to destroy their phones?
Oh, yeah. The district attorney is instructed. I guess there's more to it that I need to
right.
learn
So
about. That's crazy.
Insane. It's completely and totally insane. I've never heard of anything like this in my life.
And if I thought she was guilty because I thought, oh, surely she hit her boyfriend. Right there, hearing that with that alone with, oh, really? You have to look into it then. You have to look into it then. You can't say anymore that she did it. There's no evidence. They would have her on video. I mean, I heard the guy across the street didn't even let his camera be looked at. He just said, oh, nothing here to see.
Right. Basically,
And she,
sure.
you know, that's a biggie.
Right. Everything's missing or no longer exists. Crime scene photographs that were taken that were taken with an iPhone. The metadata for those crime scene photos are gone. That doesn't happen. The device used to take to take these crime scene photographs is gone, and for some reason it's an iPhone, which is weird.
Yeah. And you know, also too, when they there was one of the attorneys said, listen, you know, because they weren't giving them any information that they were asking for, he said, we're not afraid of anything that comes out. And that's true. It seems like everything that's come out shown that she didn't do it, and it also showed who did. Because like you say, there's only one other place you can look if you think she's innocent. There's only one other place.
There's no other place to go except inside 34 Fairview.
And that is absolutely true. And that's also why people need to just, you know, and they never even looked there, but we sure have. And that's where it's at.
Right.
If you think she's innocent, there's only one place to look.
Right.
So, anyways, did you get my Cash App? I'll let you go. But did you get my Cash App? I sent it to you. If you didn't, I need to go back and fix that. Alicia?
What's your name, Lisa?
Alicia, yeah.
Alisa. Okay, let me check. Most likely I got it. Yep, I got it. Thank you so much, Alisa.
Okay. Just wanted to see. Okay. I know. Thank you doing the work you're doing, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. You're on. Who am I speaking with?
Live.
I'm sorry, who's this?
Scott McGinnis.
Oh, Scott McGinnis. What's up, buddy?
Yeah, few people in the chat.
What's on your mind, man?
Well, you know, I find it's funny that these people that are still believing the state story, it blows my mind because on one hand, they're trying to say Karen was drunk, but on the other hand, if she's so drunk, how does she drive like Mario Andretti in reverse?
Right. Right. Now, I think Karen was drunk as fuck. Personally, but I don't think she hit him with the car. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, does she deserve a DUI? The only reason I'm going to say no is because they never tested her for alcohol that night, you know? So she's even innocent of a DUI as far as I'm concerned. But
if they truly believe that she, drunken vehicular homicide, they would have never let her leave the scene.
Right.
It was a strange situation because she didn't.
Yeah, that's a good point.
She didn't go back in her own car. You know, Carrie and Jen drove her around pretending to look for John, even though they knew John was there.
Right.
So when she jumps out of the car screaming bloody murder and Jen's coldly calling 911 and Canton PD arrives, her vehicle's not there. The accident didn't just happen. So they can't ask her to do a field sobriety test and look at her car because the car's not there and she's not operating a motor vehicle at the time.
Right.
So she obviously wasn't a suspect in a drunken hit and run.
Right. Why wasn't she detained at the scene? Scott, who's a mod for me and also former law enforcement, he's asking a very valid question. Why wasn't she collared at the scene? Why wasn't she detained and charged at the scene?
Well, if you think about it, well, my belief is I think Canton PD, I think this was prearranged before they even arrived to the house.
All right, Scott, keep talking. I can hear you. I can hear you, but you got to keep talking, okay? But I'm here. If I don't respond right away, it's because I stepped away, but I can hear you. So please keep talking.
So imagine Canton PD shows up. They see a man that obviously looks like he's beaten on the point of death. There's no vehicle around. There's no tracks and the inch and a half of snow that's there. The three people that are in the vehicle don't have a story to tell. They didn't see anything happen. I imagine if I'm a local police officer showing up at that scene, I see a guy 12 feet off the road laying in the snow, beaten to a pulp. The first thing in my mind is did somebody beat this guy up and leave him for dead in the yard? You're not thinking he's been hit by a car. Nothing matches that situation. And like you've said before, why wouldn't the police immediately go to the front door of that home and start banging on the door? Are the assailants inside the home? Or are the people in the house that have also been beaten up? Was the whole family killed?
Right. Why? Exactly. That's my point, is why was there no wellness check done on everybody else in the house? I've never seen an episode of Cops or any body cam footage that I've gone over where there's a domestic issue or somebody hurt where they didn't go, hey, I need to go in the house and make sure that everybody else is okay real quick. You know, oh, well, they're asleep. Well, I need to make sure that they're okay. They're going to have to wake up for a second. I realize it's inconvenient, but I got to wake everybody up here because I need to make sure nobody else needs medical attention. That's what you do as far as due diligence goes, being a first responder. There's no, it's suspicious as hell that didn't happen.
Right. So you would think, okay, this, I'm the Canton police that see this man beaten on the lawn. Where are the assailants? You look 360. When did this happen? How long? When did this guy get beat up? An hour ago? 2 hours ago?
Right.
Let's check the house. And I think when they first started investigating the scene, first thing is that there's a man dying, EMS, get him on an ambulance, get him help. But they remained at the scene. Obviously, they were looking around for evidence. They found broken clear glass and a couple drops of blood. They figured, oh, hey, there's an inch and a half of snow. Let's go grab a leaf blower from the neighbor. Blow some stuff, blow some snow out of the way. Maybe we can see clearly more how this man was assaulted. I believe they thought he was assaulted. They're not thinking he's been hit by a car.
Well, the thing is,
the car would have had to drive up onto the lawn. There was enough snow on the ground that there would have been some tire tracks or something.
Well,
the way they investigated it is bizarre. It doesn't make sense at all.
To play devil's advocate, you're talking about before any detectives actually showed up. So it's not a first responder's job to detect and investigate. It's their job to basically check and see and make sure everybody's okay. And if they see something that merits investigation, then they call in an investigator and say, you need to come in here and check this out. You know what I mean? So as far as things that weren't investigated, I don't find that necessarily suspicious, but I find the very bare minimum of of a simple wellness check not taking place being very suspicious.
And who had communicated with the Alberts? Like, Karen, she didn't want to go in that house party. Yeah, maybe they were fighting, whatever. She brought him over there. She stopped. He gets out. He goes in the house. She's probably waiting for him for a few minutes. Like, is my drunken boyfriend that I'm pissed off right now going to just go in there and say hi and come back out to the car and we can go home?
And why is it that everybody inside the house, everyone inside the house seems to have seen Karen Reed pull up with John O'Keefe, and yet nobody saw the alleged crime actually happen, which is really weird. So
that's the most amazing part of this case.
Right.
Is okay, if Karen Reed is murderously mad at her boyfriend, she chose the exact moment where I'm going to run him down in front of two cops' houses, one house full with 13 people at a party, and I'll get away with this. Well, no problem. I'll just run him down right now.
nobody's going to see it. And all of a sudden, these 2 cops' ring cameras don't work. Nobody in the house sees or hears the accident.
Yeah.
And then after this supposedly happens, 12:30 or whatever time, the state saying that she ran him down, you have how many people? They keep lying about how many people are in the house, but
Sure.
and what varying times they left.
And you have Jen
to have at least
McCabe.
a half dozen people that left the party after he's supposedly dying on the lawn. And what did they step over over his body to get in their cars and go home?
Right. That's what I'm saying. Also, yeah, that's another thing. That's another thing that Yannetti brought up is like how did Higgins not see John O'Keefe's body based on his testimony of when he left the house? How did he not see that? So you have that, and then you also have Jen McCabe, who clearly was talking to someone inside that house, most likely Nicole Albert, which she claims she never actually spoke to her. Right? Bullshit. But she speaks to Nicole Albert, and you hear her say, "Are you coming out?" And she does it very quietly, right? But no, hey, there's a guy on your fucking lawn, and you need to come out, and we need Brian out here because Brian's trained as a first responder who could save his life, at least try to save his life until the paramedics get here. But that doesn't happen. There's no effort at all whatsoever other than Karen trying to save John O'Keefe's life. There's no effort from anyone trying to save John except from Karen.
That's what's so crazy. So say even if you go on one of the other side's theories that John went in the house, he got beat up, and then he was going to walk home, and he didn't make it that far, and he fell in the yard and died right there. It still doesn't excuse people, A, not seeing the fight happen in the house, and B, they're leaving the house party and walking by his body and getting in their car and driving home.
Right.
And then it's 5 a.m. or whatever that Karen backs out of his garage to go look for him, and she's calling these people like, "Hey, I dropped John off at 12:30. I was mad at him. I went home. I figured one of you guys were going to drive him home after he drank for an hour or two." So I'm guessing Karen went home and fell asleep. She woke up at like 4:30, 4:45.
Realized he wasn't home.
And she's like, "Shit, where is he?" You know?
Right.
And then she starts calling around like, "Hey, I dropped him off at the house party. Did he, pass out on your couch? Did he try to walk home?
Right.
Where is he?"
Right. Yeah.
So it's crazy. It's so. But if you think what I think happened,
It's so obviously suspicious.
That's where it starts to get bizarre cover up.
Yeah, I mean,
like everybody's in on it.
Right.
And then you sound crazy.
I mean, but it's not so crazy when you put all the facts together, is it? You know?
Yeah, because we've all been going over this case for a year now and looking at it upside down, inside out, and we're still looking at it every day. And it's just none of it makes sense. The only thing that makes sense to me it was all these people were involved. You listen to Michael Morrissey's hostage tape.
Or at least they know more than they're saying and letting on, or at least that, but at the same time, if nobody did anything to try to save him, they're complicit, they should be charged. They should be charged with accessory after the fact or whatever they can prove. But if nobody tried to save this man's life and everyone lied on their statements, then they should be charged with a crime. Absolutely.
I think they were in a panic. They none of them were willing to admit that he's been beaten to the point of death. Nobody wants to admit what happened. We'll just throw him out on the lawn and say he never came in the house, and we'll just blame it on his girlfriend and she ran him over. But I don't even think that was their original plan. They maybe put him out there and we'll say he passed out walking home and a plow hit him. But then they had to keep changing their story. And then I think when Karen leaves his house to go look for him, I think somehow Proctor found out that she cracked her taillight either through Jen McCain or Terry Roberts. Or maybe he already had access to the ring video from John's house and he saw that. And then the light went off in his head, like, oh, taillight's cracked. Good. We can go down that route now. I don't know.
Right.
Whatever the Commonwealth's theory of the case, it doesn't add up with the facts.
Not at all. That's the issue is that they get Proctor in on this thing, and basically he just does a horrible job of framing Karen Reed, and just does a desperate attempt of just as long as you're not looking over here, and they figure that once they get rid of all the evidence in the house, then they're in the clear. They're good to go. Doesn't matter what anybody thinks. People can make accusations all they want, but now the floor in the house is gone, the house itself is gone, and the dog is gone. So, okay, that's your theory. Prove it. You know what I mean? But
that's basically what they're doing.
Right.
Everybody's sticking to their story,
right.
and they have a plausible story that the public will buy. Oh yeah, she hit him with the taillight. There's a hair on the bumper, and your average public is like, okay, yeah, the police got this. They're right. And those are the Karen's guilty people.
Yeah. The whole thing is just disgusting. Scott, I'm going to take the next call, man. Thank you so much. I want to say thank you on behalf of everybody here for relentlessly being out there, standing up for everybody's First Amendment rights, exercising your First Amendment right to do so. It means the world, and just standing out there in support of Karen Reed and in support of John O'Keefe and justice for John O'Keefe. I got to tell you, I think you're great, and everybody here appreciates you for it. So I just wanted to thank you on behalf of myself and everyone else.
I love your show. I'm on it all the time. I was playing you live on my Bluetooth speaker outside of court today.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, you guys are incredibly supportive towards me, man, and I really appreciate it. It's humbling to say the least, and I really appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Okay, have a good night.
All right, you too, buddy. All right, last caller here. You're on. Last caller. Who am I speaking with?
Hey, Will, can you hear me?
Yes. Who am I speaking with?
I'm Magnolia Tipsy in chat.
Magnolia, what's up?
I'm in Texas, so I'm half a continent away.
Right on.
So I am not local, but my father-in-law is from Worcester. So
Right on.
I had never heard of this case until Melanie Little did her first episode on it. I'd seen a little bit in the news, and I thought, oh, that poor woman, she has run over her. She's run over her man. What a sad way, what a sad thing to happen.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm really grateful for creators like Melanie Little. She's got the experience as a trial lawyer, and we need that type of insight, and especially since she has her own audience and has earned so much respect with her own audience, and bringing this to the attention of her audience it has really made an impact as well. So creators like her, with her education and her insight, is really helpful to bringing this to the forefront, and this needs to be out in the forefront. This case needs to be out there for everyone to ask questions about. So I'm really grateful personally to Melanie Little for handling this case. I think she's doing an amazing job of doing so.
Yeah, and I'm a facts and figures kind of girl, I just,
yeah,
I really like that approach. I'm really into the deep dive into the documents and Olivia Nile and all of that. It's just fascinating to me. I've been a true crime fan for a long time, but I hadn't even really heard that much about this case until really January. I didn't know who Turtleboy was. I didn't know.
I didn't either.
Never read an article. Never watched him. Just didn't know who he was until after he got out of jail. Is when I started watching him on YouTube. I like to go over there because I like to fight. But
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of the same way.
and can't do that in Melanie's channel, which I totally respect.
Right, me too. Yeah. Melanie definitely runs her channel a lot differently than I do, but I absolutely respect it.
Her mods are great.
Yeah.
Exactly. But the wild thing about it is talking about the snow. You know, I'm in Texas. We don't see a lot of snow, and so, but even when we do see snow, it's usually ice and sleet, and we can't drive or leave the house. And we're lucky if we have electricity. But you know, back in 2021, we had what we call the snowpocalypse, and we had 6 inches of snow.
Yeah, Atlanta had one of those about 10 years ago.
Yeah. So, but every once in a while, we'll get snow for a day, you know, and it might be an inch if we're lucky, maybe 2. So I do have a concept, even though I'm, you know, in the South, I have a concept of what, you know, 2 inches of snow looks like. And there is no way that snow caused those injuries to Officer O'Keefe's arm. There's just no way.
No.
That is even a thing.
No.
And all of those locals who are going to end up on that jury, they were there. They're going to know it wasn't a blizzard when he was hit.
Right.
Or supposedly hit whenever he ended up in the yard.
Right.
They are going to know that.
Those are all people who live with those conditions every year for months out of the year.
Yeah, they are going.
They're not going to be fooled by that bullshit.
Exactly right. It's just crazy to me. But you know, going back to what the lady, and I'm sorry I can't remember her name, but she was talking about why people, you know, who believe that this happened, that Karen actually hit him and all of that. And it never, you know, having worked for, you know, a state agency in my past, there's no shortage of people who have to believe that, you know, the government's going to save them. I mean, you know, look at those hurricanes, you know, and Louisiana and all of that, and all those people who thought that the government was going to protect them and all of that. And it's not really a thing. You have to protect yourself. There's a reason why they tell you not to talk to the police, because they're not there for you. HR is not there for you.
Right.
You know, but it will absolutely just blow their mind to accept the fact that there could be, you know, corruption, or that this could be some kind of cover up. And it really doesn't. They're like, oh, there's no way all these people are in on this cover up. Well, there's only like 4 and their wives. Come on, it's not. It's not a lot, and their friends are helping them, but it's not. It's not. You know, it's not dozens and dozens and dozens of people. It's just a very short list of people, and their friends, their cop buddies, are taking their word for it. You know what I'm saying? They're helping out. Don't get me wrong. There's definitely some people I think that, you know, had a hand in doing the cover up part, the after party, so to speak. But
yeah, I think that the idea, I think you had it right the first time, whereas like the idea of just stepping out of that comfort zone and distrusting the people and the entities that you just by default have all this faith in protecting you, just the idea of them not being trustworthy is scary to some people. It's too scary to even entertain for them. So, you know, I mean, that should be a lesson to you. Be a little bit more independent in the way that you think. Be ready to take care of yourself if you need be. I mean, what's funny is that this country was built on the idea of less government. And here we are, you know, almost 250 years later, and you know, we're still very dependent on our government.
I mean, those local people, they can't even own their own courthouse to have a voice. How our founding fathers are rolling over in their graves with that 200-foot BS. That is just crazy. That is not anti-Fed courthouse. That courthouse belongs to those local people who live there and pay their taxes.
Right.
They should, they should absolutely be able to support whoever and whatever they want. And they should absolutely, as long as they're not hurting anybody, and all evidence is that they're not, regardless of what the Commonwealth says, they should have their freedom of speech on their own property. That property belongs to them.
Agreed.
It doesn't belong to Lally. It doesn't belong to Bev. It doesn't belong
But they
to...
sure act like they think it does, don't they?
Oh, they sure do.
Mhm.
Yeah, they do.
Right.
Yeah, they do.
And
So, it's kind of funny. I thought, I live in Texas. It's a very conservative state, and I always thought I was pretty liberal until I got a bird's eye view of Massachusetts, and then I realized, well, maybe I'm not as liberal as I think I am.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I don't want to ignite a deep political discussion, but I mean, that's the thing is I'm a liberal in the truest sense of the word, meaning, that do whatever the hell you want as long as you're not hurting anybody. You know what I mean? Like that's how I feel about it. I don't care what you want to identify as.
Right.
But if you're, it's not liberal if you're making me and pressuring me into having an opinion on something that doesn't really affect me. You know what I mean? So,
or if you're trying to impose, you're trying to take my rights away. You're trying to take my speech away.
Right.
Come to Texas and try and take our guns away. That would not happen.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I don't particularly enjoy using words like retard, but I got to be honest. I'd be a liar if I didn't say that a good chunk of the reason why I feel so freely using it is because I know that people want me to not use it. And it's like, fuck you. You know what I mean? Like, it's the principle of it,
Yeah, and it's like Turtleboy says, oh, I hurt their feelings, and now that's a crime, Come on.
I've gotten to the point I don't give a fuck about anybody's feelings here, dude. Like, this is why it's called YouTube. You have the freedom to just not watch, but you're not going to try to dictate what I say and what I do.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not sitting here trying to dictate what you say and what you do. I'm not trying to, like, there are YouTube creators who I speak up against, but I'm not contacting YouTube and trying to shut their channel down. I'm like, okay, you're loud doing this obnoxious shit. I can be louder. And I'm going to talk about how much of a douchebag I think you are. That's how I handle it. I don't fucking go to YouTube and go, oh my God, this person is using the R word and the C word and blah, blah, blah. Like, I use those words because they bother you. because they're words that
I really just wanted to call and let y'all, I'm not local. I'm not in Canton. I'm not in Boston. I'm not in Massachusetts. And so this is not, I'm not influenced in any way by what's going on locally, other than I support them 1,000%. I'm half the country away, and I can see it, and I originally went in with, oh, that poor woman, she got trashed, she ran over her boyfriend, she's ruined her life. Oh my gosh, that is how terrible. You see people just ruin their lives over the stupidest thing, and then Melanie kicked off with her first episode on this, and I've watched her ever since, and I've expanded to you, and it's a Turtleboy, and Young Jerks, and and I joined Twitter. I've never with it in my life. I've been accused of being a twit a couple of times, but I joined Twitter so I could read Olivia. That was the only reason I joined Twitter, was so I could read Olivia. You know, so it's just like, you know, I started off with the no, this lady, they were drunk. It's unfortunate, this poor lady, but that is not how I feel about this now. It's obvious. It's so obvious. It's just crazy. And I'm like you. I'm waiting. I mean, I'm like, okay, I'm committed. I'm Karen Reed, you know, but I do hold out a little small part of myself for, you know, you know, if Lally's going to get up there and give me a video like they promised they had of her running him down, okay.
Well,
but
what he's promising is that all I've heard him say is that there's dash cam footage of her tail light, of her tail light being broken.
Which I was reading, you know, he saw on the call today, and he was like, well, that was taken like 7 hours later. You know, what? You know, so I again, he's never, and, you know, he's 0-0 for his credibility on what a video shows. So, you know, you know.
Right. I mean, and it's on him to actually provide the proof.
And he says it shows this, and this, and it didn't say, he didn't say any of that. And I'm like, oh.
That's why I go over Plevin's shit, because it's hilarious to me. It's hilarious to me to listen to somebody sit there and try to justify what Lolly's doing with this case. It's hilarious. Like, dude, the guy, it's the burden of proof is on him, and yet he hasn't provided any proof at all whatsoever. None.
But he's still bringing in evidence. He hasn't even met his discovery obligation. As of today, he still hasn't finished meeting his discovery obligation. So that noise, you know, what he can do with that noise, that's, you know, BS, but whatever. So, you know, and then he's going to get up there and tell the judge, I use that term loosely, that, you know, his case is going to take 4 weeks, and then we get his evidence list. So that means we're going to be challenged down on a lot of.
Think about that for a second. I'm glad you brought that up.
Freaking week.
I'm glad you brought that up. Let's think about that for a second. So it's going to take the Commonwealth 4 weeks to prove their case against Karen Reed. It's going to take the defense 2 weeks to prove their case to exonerate Karen Reed. And yet the defense's list is twice as long. Their witness list is twice as long. Explain that shit to me. You know what I mean? Explain to me how the prosecution is going to prove their case against Karen Reed in 4 weeks. They need 4 weeks with half the witnesses that the defense has. They're going to take twice as long to prove their case than the defense, and their witness list is half the length of the defense's. Explain that shit.
Yeah. I do agree with Raleigh about how long. Maybe it was Raleigh, about how long he was outside. I don't think there's no way he had been out there for more than an hour, maybe 2. Sean did a medical version when he had some nurses on the other night, and, you know, not living in Massachusetts, it doesn't get below 40 for very long here at all. But,
right.
You know, I know that, you know, Massachusetts, they have some serious cold weather, and that lady was saying, Nurse Mary, she was saying that, you know, it takes 15 minutes for hypothermia to set in.
Agreed.
In that cold. You know? And so I'm like, there's no way that he was outside from 12:25.
No. It was closer to 2 a.m. for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
And everything.
I think that's why the butt dials. I think that's why the Google search was they had just decided to put him outside on the yard, and that's when the butt dialing began. I mean, come on, really, butt dials?
Right.
That is just everything anybody should need to know about this case.
Agreed. I'm going to take this next call, Yeah.
I didn't want to keep you. I wanted to give you a perspective, kind of outside local. Although I'm 100% for the locals, just so y'all know.
Right on.
I think about it all every day, and I'm a big fan of a lot of folks in your chat. So, hi Rob Geary, hi James Lynch.
All right. Thank you so much for calling. I appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Bye-bye. You're on. Who am I speaking with? Hello.
Hello.
Who am I speaking with?
This is Jay. I'm from Mass.
What's up, Jay from Mass?
I've been paying attention for about 6 months.
And I'm listening to you. Just because I don't respond right away, I'm listening. I got to step away from the mic for a second.
That's fine, brother. Love the show. I haven't heard this discussed too much, but I have a question about if she traveled, was it 62 feet in reverse and hit John? Was she in the street or was she in the driveway? And if she was in the driveway and it was 62 feet, was she parallel with the front of the house? And did her vehicle travel into the yard? And if that's the case, where are the tire marks? And if she was in the street backing up 62 feet, how did John get in the yard? She would have had to hit him, and he would have had to travel at a 90-degree angle.
Right.
To get.
I know exactly what you're getting at, and I agree with you. It makes no sense.
I haven't heard anything about this, so I might be out of the loop.
Well, no, you're not. According to the prosecution, it happened along parallel to the house. So in front of the house on the street. So according to the prosecution, she backed into him parallel to the house. So, but somehow he flew 12 feet unparalleled to the house. Like he got hit, but somehow flew sideways towards the house, 12 feet into the yard. Explain that shit.
Does that make sense to you?
Not at all. Not even a little bit.
How does that make sense to anybody who has common sense?
Exactly.
All right, brother. I just wanted to clarify some of that, which I don't know if it can be clarified. I guess we'll just have to watch the.
Right. That just boils down to exactly that. At the end of the day, there's no way that the prosecution can prove this case. There's no way that the jury's not going to have doubt. I'm going to take this next call because I know somebody's trying to call, man. But thank you so much for calling.
Yeah, thank you for the call, my brother.
All right, bye-bye. You're on. Who am I speaking with?
I've gotten through the radio stations easier than to you. What's up, bro?
What's up? Who's this? Is this Scott?
Yes, it is.
What's up? You made it. Finally. This is the only reason I'm still taking calls. Is because I know you were trying to call.
Yeah. All right. Let's take this step by step from a retired detective's point of view.
Okay.
You're sitting in a car. You get a 911 job over the radio for a male laying on the ground, unconscious.
Okay.
You roll up, and there's 3 people standing there. One's hysterical. The other 2 are calm.
Gotcha.
Okay, so you ask what's going on. You call for a bus, which in layman's terms is an ambulance. The ambulance is on the way. They show up. The guy is obviously dead, but because it's outside and the body temperature is so cold, you can't pronounce him dead. And EMS doesn't usually like to pronounce people dead in the back of an ambulance. It's usually their policy. So you take him to the hospital. The hospital works on him, and finally, and unfortunately, he's pronounced dead. So first cop on the scene, you're going to ask the people there what happened, okay? Now, usually you're going to get some type of story. But whoever the first cop was there has some type of story of what happened. Somebody had to make a statement. Because if they didn't make a statement, now you've got a hoopsie on your hands. What are you going to do? Hey, I've got a guy here with severe injuries. It looks like a crime scene. The guy's going to die. I've got to set up a crime scene. Let's call detectives. Okay. So now you call detectives in. And detectives, whether you wake them up, whatever the case is, I don't know if they have them 124 hours out there. But the detectives respond to the hospital, and somebody should have responded to the scene and said to the cop, okay, where's the crime scene? Well, the cop's going to say, right here. Okay, so you've got nothing set up. Did you at least take any pictures with your cell phone that we could use for court for later on for the case? So now the cop's got more questions he's got to answer for.
Right.
Do you see where I'm getting at? Well, I did 26 years with the NYPD. I was a volunteer fireman for 25 years.
This isn't Bill Cannon, is it? You're not really Bill Cannon, are you?
No. You know what? I'm not even going to comment because I don't want to get people.
I'm just fucking with you, Bill. Just fucking with you, Scott.
I know. I'm just going to say that I did my time in the street.
Right.
All my time was in the street. Okay. I've never seen such a crime scene so screwed up in my life.
Right.
I mean, even a rookie knows. You pull up on a scene and somebody, we call it here in New York, likely to die. Okay. You pull up on a scene and somebody is likely to die or critically injured. You have to set up a crime scene because you can't go back and go through it later.
Exactly. That's the first thing you do. Even if there's no actual evidence of a crime yet, the possibility, there's a clear evident possibility of a crime, so you preserve it, right?
Exactly. And you know what? People forget about this. If you look at the major roadways in New York, and I'm sure up in Connecticut, people are driving by trying to go to work, and the cops had the road shut down for hours, but they don't see anything. That's because somebody was likely to die, and it's potentially a crime scene.
Right.
So you can't let people go through there.
No, like it's crazy how this was handled, and I love that you're pointing this out because that's something that can't be overlooked. How this situation was handled from the very beginning. That's what I mean when I say this investigation was fucked from the word go. So
exactly.
That's what I mean. The stuff that you're pointing out is the stuff that I mean when I say that. And you know, to hear a retired detective verify this is very refreshing to me. So I appreciate that.
It will. I mean, in 25 years on both sides, with the fire department running an ambulance and with the police department, I have never seen anything so bad.
Right.
I've never seen anything so fucked up in this time. And the whole thing is, people say, oh, people have, an invested interest in the case. Or people, you live up there. You know what? I've got no connections to Massachusetts.
Right.
Actually, I do now. I have 2 nieces that are going to college up there. But that's it. But the whole thing is, if you just turn around and you follow what's been laid out as the evidence, and if you start at point A from the time that the cop gets the 911 job on his radio and responds, all you have to do is go step by step, and you know it's screwed up.
Right.
And now that even more stuff has come out from Jackson and Yannetti with all this bombshell stuff, how can you honestly say, with all this laid out in front of you, that Karen did it?
Right. You have to be an ignorant asshole at this point.
And I'll be honest with you, my wife even said it to me the other night when we were watching the show. When I was a cop, you know what? Cops could do no wrong. In my eyes, a cop couldn't do any wrong. I'm retired almost 7 years now. And after seeing some of the stuff that I've seen on TV and now on YouTube with this case, this is insane what's going on.
Right.
It's insane.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense at all. It doesn't make sense at all. Cherry, what happened is it automatically downloaded, but I can't access what I downloaded. So whatever you sent me, I can't see. Sorry about that, Scott. But yeah, she's yelling at me in chat, and I'm like, well, I can't really do anything.
Better you than me.
Cherry's always yelling at me. But yeah, I can't see what it is, so I don't know what she wants me to do. But no, I completely agree with you. It's because I feel like I'm crazy. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm crazy sometimes because I'm like, I'm not a cop, so I don't know what the procedure is. I'm just a guy who's watched a lot of movies and TV, but when that makes more sense to me than what they're actually doing in real life, then I got questions. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I have questions, and you know what? My wife has been sitting here listening to your show with me and Melanie's show, and she's doing her own thing, and she's listening to this evidence being laid out, and she can't believe it. This is absolutely insane what's going on up there.
It makes no sense, right?
No.
Yeah.
And it's from the start. And and if you go back to the beginning with my question is, why wasn't Karen arrested at the hospital if she wasn't arrested at the scene? So somebody gave the cop a story at the scene. Okay? Whatever the story was, it obviously wasn't that Karen hit him with the car. Because if it was, you got a guy that's likely to die right there, hit by a car. Okay, so she's going to be taken. She can be taken at least into custody, so she can be questioned. They didn't even do that.
No. Yeah, they didn't even detain her.
No.
Like, that's crazy.
No. No, cops. I'll say this: cops will cover for their own. Okay.
Right.
But there comes a point where are you going to jeopardize your job, your pension, your family, and possibly jail?
Right.
Because somebody kicked another guy's ass?
Yeah.
Are you kidding? You know what? I wasn't doing that for anybody.
So that leads me to my next question. What's your, as a retired and experienced investigator, as a retired cop, what is your theory as to why there's no Boston Police Department presence in these court hearings?
That's easy. They know exactly what happened. That he wasn't hit by a car.
That's what I thought. That's what I think.
They're not stupid.
Right.
They're not stupid.
That's what I think. I mean,
and they don't want an innocent person going to jail for this.
Right. But at the same time, they don't want to show, you know what I mean? They don't, they don't want to show any type of disdain for somebody who they share the same department with.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And you know what? It's like any other job in the world. You got the good guys and you got the bad guys.
Right.
And at some point you got to take a stand. And I think once everything is said and done with the trial and Karen is found not guilty, then you know what? I think that the prosecution's going to throw their hands up and say, you know what? We arrested the person. We tried her. She was found not guilty. There's nothing more we can do.
Right.
You know what? It's a damn sin because there won't be justice.
See, that's interesting that you say that, because that was what Turtleboy said to me the very first time that we talked. Because I was like, I don't understand this. It makes no sense. Why would they try to prosecute a case that they know they can't win? Well, his theory was they want the Casey Anthony effect. Well, we got the right person, but she beat us in court. And so the guilty person got away with it, is what they're looking to do. And that's scary, you know. But the problem is thanks to Turtleboy and thanks to Melanie Little and thanks to you know, for speaking up and you know, people like you and everybody standing out there outside the courthouse. People are going to be asking questions and demanding justice. They're not going to end there. They're not going to stop with Karen Reed being exonerated. Somebody has to answer for John O'Keefe's death. So
you know, you see all the comments like in your chat and Melanie's chat. When is the feds going to step in? All right.
Right.
I don't see the feds stepping in until there's federal civil rights violations against Karen and federal prosecutorial misconduct. Right now, I would say maybe there's state level prosecutorial, prosecutorial misconduct.
Right.
I mean, you already got Lally lying. You got the statement by Morrissey that looked like he was being held hostage in another country making a statement, you know? I mean, when do you see a DA do that?
Yeah, I mean, you've got me convinced.
And that's it.
You've got me convinced because I've been of the opinion that how can they just let this trial go on? But I figure they want an airtight case, and if they can go, if they can go in front of a federal jury and say that these people put an innocent woman through a trial knowing that she was innocent, then that's going to that's definitely going to help ensure a conviction against people like Michael Morrissey or Lolly or anybody else.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that makes sense to me.
Stuff that you're going to see in a movie.
Right. This is insane, and unfortunately, that's a trial that we're not going to get to see. No, because they don't stream or televise federal trials. They just don't. So
nope. If the feds step in and grab somebody up, we'll hear about that, and then we'll hear about whether they're convicted or not. That's all we're going to hear, and we'll hear if somebody rolled.
Right. I mean, there'll be press allowed in the courtroom, but we'll just have to we'll have to do it like we're doing with the the jury selection, is just kind of go by the play-by-play. Whatever press is tweeting moment by moment, we'll have to go over. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Right now, we just need to focus on getting Karen Reed off of this, out of this mess that she's in. This poor woman.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Scott, man, I really appreciate you calling, man. I've been wanting to talk to you, and I've been wanting to get your insight. So I'm really glad that you called in. Thank you so much for that. And thanks for all your help in the chat. It means a lot to me that you help out as much as you do in the chat. Thank you so much for that.
My pleasure, Will. Take care of yourself, bro.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, let me see what Cherry's yelling at me about here. There we go. Okay. Let me get rid of that. Nope. Says I can't view this type of file, so I have to download it. And okay, so motion for leave to file. I don't know what I'm looking at. Amicus memorandum of Burani Padaman, MD, from the Valley Patriot newspaper regarding the Commonwealth's desire for a no speech zone around Norfolk Superior Courthouse. Okay. Amicus Dr. Burani is a regular columnist who has published around 85 columns for the Valley Patriot newspaper here in Massachusetts over the past 10 years, with a focus of public corruption and First Amendment issues. His two most recent columns from Exhibit A. 10 years ago, Dr. Burani filed the sole objection to the verbal gag order issued by the despicable Judge Joseph Johnston against the parents of 16-year-old Justina Politer, which threatened the parents with imprisonment if they publicly revealed the demand by Boston Children's Hospital and the DCF that they swear to the court that they would never again take their child to Dr. Mark Corson at Tufts Medical Center for metabolic treatment as the court-ordered condition for not losing their parental rights permanently. Okay. So this is a motion filed by the Freedom to Protest Coalition versus the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So this is a filing to fight the 200-foot that's what it looks like to me anyway, the 200-foot buffer zone. Sorry, I was looking for the word. So this is actually very, very, very interesting. Hold on, let's look at another one here. So this is Commonwealth of Massachusetts Supreme Court. So this is Tracy Ann, Dana, and Paul. So this is filed, I guess, by the attorney that Dana, Paul, and Tracy have all hired to fight this ridiculous bullshit. So Yeah, make no mistake. I'm going to do a completely different live stream, I think, on this. I'm not going to do it now because I'm approaching the 3-hour mark here, and I have stuff that I got to do tonight. And honestly, folks, I'm tired. If I'm being completely honest, I'm pretty tired. Mark Randazza, thank you so much. Yes, Mark Randazza, who so far I like a lot. And I definitely want to discuss this fight. You guys are killing it. But I have in front of me, I want to be very clear about that. I have in front of me the fight that these wonderful folks that are gathering outside of the courthouse to protest this wrongful prosecution of Karen Reed. They are fighting to speak their minds, and they are being silenced, and they are not going to stand for it. And they are taking the steps, and I have the evidence right in front of me that they are taking the steps to not just fight for their own freedom of speech, but they're also fighting for your freedom of speech by doing this. This is not to be overlooked. This is not to be understated. This is the facts. The fact is that these people are out there exercising their First Amendment right for you, not just themselves, but for you, because that is what Judge Cannoni did was absolutely violate everyone's First Amendment rights. And Nick Rocco, I see, is in the chat as well. Good to see you, buddy. He's out there fighting the good fight too. And the honor that it is to have you guys in my chat and to have your support I don't even have the words for it. All of you guys, Dana, Tracy, Paul, Nick, Scott, all of you guys, Tom, all of you guys are amazing. And Tom being out there and filming it for hours on end and showing the camaraderie between you guys and showing the world that you guys are not this angry, insane mob out there. It's everything that you guys are doing is so important and so good. I am so grateful to you guys. As an American, as a patriot, I am personally grateful to all of you for what you're doing. So I will do an entirely different live focused just on that. And I'm probably going to get in touch with some of you guys to have you guys on here and discuss it. And I'll probably reach out to Mark if I can, and see if Mark would be interested in joining. And I realized that while I had phone calls, I did not play the song, but for this one, I'm definitely going to do that. Just for charity, by the way.
I think we got a super dad. Super dad. I think we got a super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Super dad. I think we got a super dad. I think we got a super dad. I think we got a super.
All right. Thank you so much, Jim Jerry Gunn. And thank you so much. Oh my God, there we go. Sherry D, thank you so much. You guys are fucking amazing. Seriously, you guys are great. Wow. This was a really, really productive live, and I'm really glad that I came back and did this live stream with you guys because speaking to Scott and speaking to you guys, I'm definitely going to engage in the habit of opening this phone line a little bit more as I do these live streams. Most definitely. I really enjoy talking to you guys, and I really appreciate you guys calling in and sharing your thoughts. It means the world to me. You guys have no idea. Oh my goodness.
I think we got a super dad. Super dad. I think we got a super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Super dad. I think we got a super dad.
Mandolin Wind, thank you so much. Appreciate you. All right, guys, I think I am gonna wrap this up. I appreciate all you guys, man. Man, I always take so long saying goodbye and saying thank you to you guys, and the real reason for that is because I have trouble actually finding the words that genuinely justify my feelings and of gratitude to you guys. So when a thank you would probably just suffice, but I spend a lot of time being like, thank you guys so much for everything and liking and subscribing and blah blah blah, because I still can't believe that you guys even give a shit what I have to say. So it's pretty mind-blowing. I'm really grateful to you guys for that. Yeah, guys, I full disclosure, I am tired. Dennis Sweeney, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I am tired, and I still have to go to the gym tonight. And I'm definitely going to the gym. So I've got to find the strength. But you guys just hyped me up and gave me a second wind, and I'm so grateful to you guys for that. Thank you guys so much for all your support. Thank you for, please, if you haven't already, but thank you if you already have. But if you haven't already, please hit the like. Please subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Share this all over Twitter. If you're watching on Twitter, please share it. You guys are fantastic. I love hanging out with you guys. I mean, we did an 8-hour total hangout today, man. We hung out for 8 hours today. Pretty dope. You guys are fantastic. I love you guys very much. Thank you so much. And we will do this again very soon, my friends.